Good afternoon and a warm welcome to the second round of the 104th British Championship. Brought to you here live from Hamburg from International Master Michael Rahal and myself, Ilja Zaragatski. We are running a bit late. The games have already started and we're not the only ones who are running late. Also, David Howell doesn't seem to be at the board, the top seed of the British Championship 2017, who managed to win his game after all. Yesterday, we wouldn't have believed it, but he pulled it off after 104 moves, was it?
104 moves. That's the reason he's probably late. He's
still exhausted from yesterday. All right.
Or
Michael.
still playing the game. Could be that possibility.
Maybe. Let's take a look to the pairings, and also the first moves are on the board already, especially of the top seeds. So this is the position of David Howell versus Craig Pritchett.
It's International Master Craig Pritchett, yes.
Yeah, so yesterday we saw quite some, the difference in rating was
It was
quite
huge,
big,
wasn't
yeah.
it? It was huge.
550 points, I believe, on the
I
first
think there was
board.
only one or two upsets, a couple of draws, but essentially all the main favourites passed the second round. And today's going to be a bit closer because rating gaps are closed, and we're talking about between 200 and 300 points. So I wouldn't be surprised if today we have more upsets than the first round, and that's quite normal in the second round as well. And we have Pritchett against Howell on the first board. I'm sure Howell will appear any moment now. And some other interesting games. We have another International Master, Kolbus 2306, playing against Hawkins on the fourth board. And lots of FIDE Masters. FIDE Masters with strong ratings.
Yeah.
Probably young players who are coming up now, 2,300 players, who can give the Grandmasters a good hard game and make them sweat their point, no?
Absolutely. So today is definitely going to be a tougher nut to crack for the favorites, especially with the black colors. It's anything but easy to beat those up-and-coming kids especially. But almost everyone up there is FM or IM level on the first boards.
Exactly. The first 10 boards, everyone is IM or FM. And there's still some lower boards, 15 to 18, where there's some lower-rated players because a lot of players started with 0 points. But yeah, we'll have good games today. And as you all know, you can follow us on the Chess24 embedded program on the website, also on the ChessBase YouTube channel. And if you feel like leaving a question or any type of commentary, just leave us the question and we'll see it and do our best to answer them. So let's get into the action, no? Ilja?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go.
So first board, one move played, not much action so far. Again, we can observe kind of a trend. People are not playing e4 or d4 these days. They tend to gravitate towards less forced, less mainstream openings, like the English, which was very popular yesterday for a good reason, of course.
Yes.
It is the British Championship.
British Championship, yeah.
The London system is also something that we've seen a couple of times. And this time around, it's the Retty from Craig Pritchett, International Master from Scotland.
Okay, he's just arrived, David. So,
All right.
so moves coming in.
Okay. How do you know?
Well, I can see them.
Right.
I'm sure you'll get them now.
Oh,
there you go.
So this is this can end up being a reversed Banco Gambit or Benoni, depending how White wants to play here. He can also simply fianchetto his bishop and play some kind of reversed perk. We'll see. I like to play the Banco with black, so
He's gone before, so we'll have a nice.
That's a great.
Banco
That's a
Gambit
great choice.
with reverse colors.
I feel almost qualified to talk about these structures.
I played knight f3 quite a few times, but
okay.
I never played b4 here. I go e3, which is the other variation. Sometimes if they play c5, then I go b4. And it's the Blumenfeld Gambit we were talking about yesterday briefly in one of the games.
So it's possible to transpose to Banco kind positions, reverse positions, by playing c5 here. But the most critical move is
F6.
Considered to be f6.
Yes.
According to Garry Kasparov, I believe the refutation of this line, or at least not giving White any advantage.
That's the move
supposedly.
Chris Ward mentions in his book of the Retty. He also says f6 is the best move here for White.
So c5.
Even so, it's still complicated. He gives some interesting lines, but that's what he says is in principle the best move.
there's some alternatives, but it's commonly believed that f6 is quite critical. So here lately there has been a fashion developing, spearheaded mainly by some strong French grandmasters who went knight a3 here. So the idea is to maneuver the knight to c2, which is a good square in these structures, more often than not. So this knight is defending the pawn, and also e4 is not a good move because the knight takes. So, okay, of course, black can simply continue development. He can go c5, a5, I don't know, maybe knight g7 or knight e7 here, bishop e6, all the normal moves. But then white argues that he just plays a good kind of Benko or reversed Schmidt-Benoni with b4.
With b4.
Don't even know how to call it, but yeah.
Well, it's a game. It's an interesting
definitely
position.
A game.
So that's one of the ideas, not just to get a game and see how it develops.
Yeah. So we'll see if the players will follow the fashion here.
Well, Howell played bishop g4. He's just played bishop g4.
Instead of f6.
Instead of f6.
Right. So this is actually another move which is considered not so bad. I believe it was played by Caruana recently. Not sure against whom or in which game, but I've seen it played by Caruana. I believe in one of the Paris or Leuven Grand Prix games. So the idea is, so if the knight was on f6, we would have a theoretical position with colors reversed from the Benko, well, kind of Benko, where white goes...
It's bishop g5, queen b6.
Exactly,
this would be the other way around, understand.
And here white would then go queen b3 and then recapture on f3 with the queen. It's a very complicated line to wrap your head around, especially if you're not a professional chess player. It's very unbalanced, but at the same time, of course, also very interesting. So yeah, bishop g5, bishop g4 is the other fashionable move.
Well, let's see what Richard has. Well, he might have to play queen b3 if against the bishop d4, because that's been played.
Queen b3?
Yeah. I suppose he'll play queen b3 here.
Yeah, that's not the main move, though. So basically white has a tempo up compared to these lines, but sometimes the knight is not perfectly placed on f6. So what else can white do? White can, of course, just go one of these moves and let black exchange on f3. And then hope to activate his bishop later on with f4, also make use of the e-file. However, it's not so easy if black in time can play e5 and bishop d6. So first of all, we have to take care of this pawn, b5, bishop d6, and then we can see already that getting f4 through is not so easy. And this knight jumps to c5, oftentimes, so to defend this pawn on b7. So it's a move-by-move kind of business, but I believe queen b3 is actually the best move here. I've done my experiences with these structures with e takes f3. I lost a very terrible game against Vitaly Golod, Israeli grandmaster in the Bundesliga, without any chance. So I think really it's complicated, but you should go queen b3. And he did, didn't he?
Well,
not yet.
He might have been surprised with bishop d4, so he's thinking his options now, and we'll have to let him consider. Let's go and check the other games, because there's already quite a bit of action on the second game.
Let's do that.
Where Gawain Jones is playing FIDE master Alexander Lawson, 23-23. So a good player with black. And
and another
Reti.
It's
the trend here in the British. Knight f3 and
keeps gaining popularity.
g3, e6, c4.
So this could transpose to the Catalan with d4, which would be the most normal. b3, I believe, is the next
is the
popular. Yeah, knight f5. I've never seen. What's that?
Strange move.
Have you seen this move?
Not. I don't recall having seen it in this position. Among other reasons, but of course, if he plays knight bd7, probably white will go d4 and try and get a variation of the Catalan, which is better because now you can't go b6. Well, you can, but it's probably not very good.
Yeah, this is, I believe, all of these slower setups without taking on c4, they're considered a bit more pleasant for white. So white is actually happy to transpose to this. But, well, this is, of course, the most discussed line, and I don't think white claims Well, I don't know. It's
Well, there's this variation with knight e5, knight c6, which is
there's several lines. So
also queen c2.
this is one of the main lines. Then knight c6 is surprisingly strong, even though black is sacrificing a pawn here. Okay, but now with the opposite colored bishop, he more often than not has enough counterplay. So knight e5 is a possible move. Queen c2 is possible as well, where a6 is the old main move, but then b5 at some point gains some popularity. So people, the additional idea is that after a6, you don't have to take on c4 necessarily. You can go a4 first,
possible as well,
and then bishop d7, bishop c6, and then later this knight finds a good spot on b4. So queen a4, people started playing once b5 came up, which was not such an easy line to deal with, just to stop black from playing b5. But then white, of course, is forced to take on c4, and there's no a4 lines that white can transpose to. Okay, so knight e5. Can you look up whether this move has been played by grandmasters before?
I can check here on the database. So we'll be looking at... yes, it seems 2 games.
2 games, wow.
Apparently. Let's see if the games appear.
You can just...
One with e3 and one with b3. I'm not sure how you can see the names of the...
Oh, after c5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you click the other tab, the next one. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Okay.
What? 5 games?
So there's a game by Kramnik against Lironian.
Okay, but after c5... okay.
Maybe with a transposition.
Yeah, so knight e5 has been played twice, if I understand correctly, but after c5 and in this transposition, there's a couple of top grandmaster games, in fact. By Kramnik, also strong player from India, Gujarati, Vidit, Santosh Gujarati, Vidit. A couple more grandmasters. Yeah, so what's that all about?
This one's quite recently, actually, 17th of June. Vidit against... Wojciech. Not sure on which tournament, but...
it's all very fresh. It's all 2017.
I'm not sure if I can get the moves of the game.
Yeah, no. You can. Just by clicking the game, I think, and then looking up the notation.
It doesn't seem to appear here.
No, you have to switch.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
Okay, we get it in the...
all right, okay. Let me just try to understand what it's all about. So
it's definitely not a new move. It hasn't been played much, but 2 or 3 recent games between grandmasters.
It's not a novelty, but I mean, D4 is probably like 3,000 games or something in the database, so comparably.
Many games, of course.
So White's idea is to simply avoid some of those lines where it's difficult to get an advantage, which are well analyzed and well researched already, just to get the opponent out of book. So c5 looks like the most logical try here. If knight bd7, d4 that doesn't make too much sense really. So c5. What about d4? I guess now the knight is kind of annoying, stopping black from playing knight c6, but maybe knight d7 would be possible at some point. How would white proceed here? d4 makes a lot of sense.
Maybe e3 or attacking the center?
Yeah, maybe e3. Yeah, probably e3, I guess.
It's probably the...
Now, black has to go c5, but...
No, I wonder if this position with d3...
Yeah.
Or bishop f4, rook e1. It's a bit annoying, no? The knight's on e5 there.
Yeah. White is quite happy to get the knight on e5.
Combined with the bishop on g2.
Because now it's really difficult to get grip on his queen side for black. These pawns are a little bit exposed, and you cannot really get rid of this knight. Well, you can, of course, go knight bd7, but here bishop f4, also rook e1 are possible. And in the worst case, white can also just exchange one minor piece, which is really a strategic goal that he pursues here in this position. Because he's got the spatial disadvantage, he's got less space for his pieces, so he's really happy to exchange one pair of knights. And then actually the second knight can follow the same route if necessary. Also, this knight oftentimes goes to c2. We've seen that idea already in the other game that we looked at, the game between Pritchett and Howell. And of course, also this knight can jump to e4. So a lot of options for the residual pieces in this position.
So Ilja, the games are interesting, but on YouTube, everyone's interested more in your T-shirt. Where can they purchase this wonderful T-shirt you've got?
Everyone or just one person?
No, two or three people.
Oh, really?
2 or 3 people already asking for your T-shirt. It's
right.
quite cool.
Well, just
have to tell a story there.
Send me a personal email, and I'll send a T-shirt.
I can hit you up on
what shall we say, like $100 or something? No, I found it on a website in an American online store. What was its name? I forgot. They had a couple of chess motifs, so I ordered them. Like I got 8 T-shirts or something, and got them shipped to
Very
my
nice.
yeah. Just by some hobby designers who like chess motifs.
Yeah.
That's what
I've got quite a few also chess T-shirts, so I might come around with one of them one of these days as well.
Pity it's our or at least my last day today. Otherwise, I would have brought some more T-shirts. I think there are some videos of mine online with other chess T-shirts as well.
So look them up and you can see Ilja's collection of
Do
chess T-shirts.
it.
Cool. So this game is going well. Black did play c5 here. So
So d4 was the idea that we tried to understand, and c5 is, I believe, the most natural other move. And here, White wants to transpose to a hanging pawns position, I guess, with d4. But well, the problem is that the knight left the f3 square, so it doesn't control d4 anymore. So I'm not sure how to proceed here. Is that still the position?
Well, after knight e5, c5, White took on d5,
e3, okay.
exchanged pawns, and now played e3.
Yeah. The problem is d4, c takes d4. You really don't want to take with the queen. I mean, now, of course,
now
knight
c6
is possible. Maybe also something else. Like, I don't know, maybe even queen c7, bishop c5. I don't know. But I guess just knight c6, and White is not in time to establish a blockade of these hanging pawns. So black's pieces are quite active.
Yeah, black looks okay here.
Yeah. So that's not the idea. Apparently e3 is the idea, and then simply to follow up with d4 and then have a... Yeah, this knight is really obstructing black's natural development. So knight c6 is always double-edged, and knight d7 is just a little bit passive. And now in this
This was played
position,
in the vidded game. This e3 was played.
Okay.
Also, Kramnik played this e3. And black played queen d6 against e3. In one of the games, queen d6.
Queen d6.
Against e3. And in the other game, he played bishop f5. 2 development moves.
Queen d6.
That's the move.
I don't understand this move.
That was played by, I'm going to tell you now.
I don't get
d4, take, and now bishop e6. This was played by Wojtal. How do you pronounce his name? Wojtaszek? Wojtaszek against Vidit. But he lost in 27 moves. So.
Yeah, it looks very passive. I know that that Vidit, he's a young player from India, approaching 2700 actually. He's very creative in his opening preparation. He tries to be also very practical, just to pose his opponent some problem, even though some of the lines that he plays he knows are not the best ones, not the most critical ones, but at least in practice they're very often difficult to meet. So
here we play knight c3.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that, because it's really passive. And of course White has a tiny edge here, simply because he has the more active pieces. Of course the skeleton of the position, the pawn structure is the same, but this knight and this bishop, they're just much more active than their counterparts. And White's play is fairly natural and easy. Just activate all the pieces and get some pressure going.
The game went knight c3, queen b6, and now White played rook e1. And the queen had to go back to d8 because after rook e1, Black played a move, knight c6, and White played knight a4.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the queen did a sort of detour. He went up to d6, then to b6, to go back to d8 in the end. Not so good.
No.
Not so good, and White won in 27 moves.
Wow.
So,
and that was played in June or in July?
That was Vidit Wojtaszek, 11th World Teams in 2017 in June.
Yeah, so very fresh.
Quite recently.
Very interesting. I like that. I might take it up into my repertoire, but don't tell that anyone.
No, of course not. We'll keep it a secret.
Yeah. So, actually, there's a name for this kind of pawn structure. Did you know that? For this pawn structure? Okay, let's say any move and then just these.
Opposing queen pawns or double isolated queen pawns? Or what's the
in
name?
German literature, it's called the Widder, which
Widder.
is the German name for ram.
A ram.
Yeah, those those animals that
Yes.
intertwine that lock horns with each other. This is what these pawns apparently do.
Okay,
They lock horns. So we have to open files.
So we can call it the ram.
The ram. I'm going to call it the ram.
It's good. I like it.
Although
The ram.
I needed to look it up. I didn't know what.
But I like it because it does have the idea of the ram. Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right. I think in British English you also say tub. I don't know. And also it's the Aries, which is
Aries is the
Aries.
ram. That's the constellation.
Exactly. That's the
Tups. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Tups.
So these are the tups.
The
Let's
ram,
call them
yes.
the tups.
Tups is a word I don't know in English, so
ram.
it might be a less common word. But a ram, yes, the ram.
So it's this guy.
Yeah.
Right. Or rather this
horns.
guy, right? Like this guy. Something like this.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm making a fool out of
Now it's
myself.
getting
So
too complex.
let's go to the next game.
That's it.
So just tell me which is the concrete position.
Okay, so now they're just playing after e3.
After e3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Black is making up his mind how to proceed. I mean, it's kind of clear that White wants to follow up with e3. I'm wondering if it's possible to not exchange on d4 because whenever White goes d4 and the exchange happens, the bishop
seems to favor
comes alive.
White. Yeah.
So ideally, maybe Black would actually even want to go c4, but it's really difficult to go c4. So let's say I'm going to go bishop e6, then d4, c4. The problem is that after b3, b5, well, also a4 is possible, but White can also just capture this pawn on c4 since the pawn on d5 is going to be pinned.
Well, Aronian went bishop f5 here against Kramnik.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense actually.
After e3. Bishop f5, and after d4, he played queen c8. But this was a blitz game.
All right.
The GCT, I think in Leuven or Paris, I'm not sure. But it's very recent as well. Played with Kramnik, and Kramnik played knight c3 here, and Black played rook d8. It's all a bit strange.
Yeah. So bishop h3 doesn't work because we. Oh wait. Not sure. Maybe it's possible, but
Or maybe exchange on h3 and then d takes c5.
yeah,
That does seem a bit risky, but it might work.
Oh wait. This.
Does seem a little bit risky. No, knight g4, no? Yeah, that seems to work in Black's favour.
Yeah, you have to sacrifice the queen, right?
Better not to get to do that. Let's find something.
What's
better.
that? Do you think Gawain prepared this line? What is this? No, it's too much. I mean, the queen is too much, right? Let's calculate. It's queen against knight and the rook and the pawn at the moment. Yeah, the queen is better here. So he decided to go knight
Rook d8,
rook
defending.
D8. Also, maybe, just maybe, this exchange sacrifice is possible. Because now White has really annoying pressure on the light squares. Although, probably it's not enough. Just knight c6. Okay, basically I have no clue. So, rook d8, and what happened then?
And now, in this blitz game, after rook d8, White played b3. Just trying to develop the bishop.
Okay.
C takes d4, queen takes d4, bishop c5, queen f4, and now bishop d6. And this was the game between Kramnik and Levon Aronian. But it's a blitz game.
It's a draw.
A draw
Okay.
after 30 moves. 30
All right.
something moves. So, all to play for here in this game after e3.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, Black is still considering his options here. Actually, he played knight c6, it seems. White exchanged on c6, and now knight c3. So it's a interesting position.
So this happened.
Exactly, and now knight c3.
Yeah, I think
Black to play.
that's exactly what Black was not supposed to do, because now this pawn on c5, similar to the Nimzo and
Knight
other
a4,
structures.
b3, bishop a3, rook c1.
Just not moving this pawn for now at all. Just increasing the pressure against this pawn, and I'm not sure if Black gets any counterplay. I don't know. Maybe there's some ideas putting the bishop here.
There might be some dynamic counterplay on the light squares, but
although I'm still.
But I think white may have an edge here with this plan you're mentioning for sure. But that's how it is. Let's go on to the next game. So.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to go to game number 3.
There's got to be Andrew Horton versus Luke Mcshane.
Exactly.
And
Horton
another Reti. Is that
Mcshane,
possible?
Another Reti. Everyone's playing the Reti nowadays.
And who started it?
Horton.
Oh, it wasn't me.
Andrew Horton.
All right, yeah. So, they're actually transposed to an English, and Andrew Horton is inviting Mcshane to play a reverse closed Sicilian. We've seen that kind of structure as well yesterday in a couple of games. But Black refrains from going e5, instead goes d5 here. That's quite unusual. So he's trying to play in a Grunfeld manner, but... Okay, so if I just take and go a3... Oh. Okay, queen c2, even better.
Queen c2 was played.
Yeah, and now a5.
And black push with a5.
Not sure. Can black really play like that? Just
I'm going to check if this
d6,
has been
d5?
played.
White hasn't done anything wrong, has he? He just played all the normal moves, and then a6 and e5. That looks very
this
creative.
d5 has been played before. No, it's seems to be a new move, this d5. b4, there's many games with b4. Won by Andrew Horton in 2013. So at 2, so there's another one. There's 2 games by Horton in this position. One he won and one he lost.
Seems to be a young player, because I see that in 2013 he had 2086, in 2014 2151. So the rating seems to be climbing.
The K40
Maybe.
system going well for many. And okay, so I'm sure that Luke saw these 2 games and decided to go for this line.
So
and d5 is a new move. At least
d5 is a new move.
The database
yeah.
hasn't appeared.
Yeah.
After
That's
the
very
pawn
curious.
captures, the queen is in front of the bishop, but doesn't seem to be a way to take advantage of that.
Well, maybe not now, but
at the moment at least.
The queen will have to move at some. So okay, c takes d5 is the most logical move. Anything else is not critical, I think. So it takes, and
now queen c2.
Continue development. Bishop f5 can also always be answered with d3. There might be ideas of going maybe bishop g4 sometimes, and then speculating on a fork on d4, but or maybe queen h5. Yeah, maybe queen h5 here also. I mean, that's not what he played, but it could be an idea.
That's interesting. Going for bishop h3 sometimes, or sometimes the queen could be in trouble. I've seen some games with d3 and then a bishop g5 or something, a knight on g5, and the queen sometimes gets in trouble. But I don't think this would be that type of position.
Yeah, I mean, the worst black is threatening is just to exchange the bishops. He's lacking the knight to jump to g4 to create some mating threats.
Yeah, I like queen h5. But he played
a5.
He played a5.
So yeah, it's a very
b4
concrete approach. So just b5, knight b4, I believe, is the idea, and then to win the a2 pawn. It all looks very computeresque to me. I mean, no human would play a6 or d6, then a6, then d5, then a5. So it must be something just the computer spits out.
Maybe Mcshane has prepared this specifically for the game with the help of the computer.
But he has spent. Oh no.
I think that might be 18 seconds.
Yeah, 18 seconds he spent on.
7 minutes was the white.
So he seems to be in preparation still. Yeah. Pretty sure Mcshane is in preparation. Okay, so that sometimes happens. So we just have to play against the preparation, and still try to make good moves. So b5, knight b4, queen takes c7. Let's say queen takes a2. Well, now I'm not even sure what to do with the rook. Is it gone? Yeah, looks like it. This rook is just gone.
What's happened here? you grab the c7 pawn.
Yeah. Of course, this a pawn is very dangerous as well, but the
You don't need
immediate
it, no.
problem is just this rook is
The
gone.
rook is
So I
is
mean,
trapped.
if white has to take, of course, this is not a position to play. So apparently b5 is not a great idea. Okay, so a3 is possible, of course.
A3
but
is
now,
normal, no? But then rook
now the
a2.
rook is coming. And you don't want to self-pin yourself, and of course you don't want to go back and queen c5. Maybe you can play queen c5. But then
Exchange
maybe
queens and then maybe
oh wait, no, but
exchange queens, then maybe bishop f5 or maybe
Yeah,
knight d4.
knight on b7 is the pawn on b7 is hanging.
Mm-hmm.
What about queen f5?
Queen f5.
The problem is you can never go d3 because e2 will be hanging. But how else are you going to defend this rook? Yeah, so the problem is if we exchange on c5 first and go bishop f5, then the rook can take on b7. And we cannot go bishop f5, of course, because the queen is hanging. So why not queen f5? It looks very strange, but it has a very concrete idea. It's incredible, this chess sometimes. Black goes d6, d5, a6, a5,
Now
and
queen f5.
still
no?
he's posing
And
problems.
if white exchange, he takes with the bishop and hits the rook, so that would be okay.
Oh wait, I have b3 for my rook, but then bishop e6 is coming. Yeah, that's not what you want to play against a preparation. That kind of chess, right? Like this.
Doesn't seem very. You never know. It could be the correct move, but obviously, if white has to find that in a practical game, it's going to be very difficult for him.
And also, this pawn is always
Pawn is on
weak, so-
b4 is very dangerous.
Yeah,
Bishop
this is
c2.
probably just bad.
So black is pressing here.
Okay, we need to find something for white,
This
though.
a5 is a move that, actually Andrew Horton, who by the way goes to the Durban University and is 18 years old. We have some friends in the,
Oh, very
in the
good.
channel who are giving this information. He spent already 7 minutes in this position trying
Yeah.
to understand which might be the best move. Maybe he's trying to make b5 work, seeing if he can trap the knight on a2 or something like that, but doesn't seem likely with the bishop crossing the diagonal. I think he probably has to go for a3 and then see what to do. Maybe he can capture on a5.
Yeah, he can take on a5. I mean, it's white is not lost.
He'll have a weakness, but maybe it's the best move.
He'll have to go a3. That's not what you wanna. What else do we have? What's some candidate moves? Okay, we
e4
can
is possible.
hit the
attacking
queen, but that's an ugly move. Also weakening some squares, preventing bishop f5 in some lines, but still, that's not what we want to play. Well, we don't have any good discovered attacks with the knight.
No.
I mean, we can go knight e1, but we're just going to give away central squares. Of course, the queen will simply retreat, and then it's really difficult to
I was
meet
thinking
this.
e3, a takes b4, knight d4, but he could take with the knight for the start, and again against knight d4, he has knight takes d4 as well.
Yeah.
So that won't work. Not such an easy decision. Maybe he has to make e4 then, and push the queen back somewhere, and then go b5.
That would be not great news, though.
No. But maybe Mcshane is counting on that.
I don't see anything to do. Takes an a3. That can't be it.
It's ugly.
Very ugly. Maybe it's still the best in this position.
But look at black become on g7 is wonderful. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just try to.
I've got an
to
idea.
get
What
some-
about b5 and then queen b3? Am I missing something there? Or is that possible?
I think he's gonna take on a5. All right. So this. Maybe
this
bishop e6.
Possible? Or even queen takes b3.
Even takes.
You probably have to
You
take
know
the
what?
pawn, which is very ugly. And now bishop e6 or bishop f5. Wow.
I'm not sure.
Tactics.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. No, it's not such a big problem, I guess. Or maybe bishop f4.
But there's no need really, no? Just change queens and then bishop e6 and black has a very comfortable position.
Yeah. Well, maybe just bishop e6.
Or bishop e6 straight away.
Because this is dropping some material again. Really annoying.
One is
That's
very
not
annoying.
that's not what you want to have in your game against a former 2700 player. You open with white and you're immediately in trouble. You have to solve some problems.
He's lost lots of rating points, hasn't he, Mcshane? He was 27 a bit, and now he's 26.44.
Yeah.
That's nearly 60 points.
Okay, that happens.
But do you recall him having played any very bad tournaments recently?
Not really, but he doesn't play that much. He's not a professional.
That's true.
Probably one of the strongest non-professionals in the world.
Yes.
Or at least he used to be when he had over 2700.
When he was playing with 2700.
But he still has got it in him. I'm pretty sure about that. He's a brilliant player. No doubt about it. So, okay. Yeah, still, we're not sure what to do after a5. I'm still kind of baffled how that kind of play can be so successful. But it just works. That's the only argument it needs. Simply works. Okay, let's move on to the next game. What do we have? Jonathan Hawkins versus Dietmar Kolbus, a German player who still has owned the right to play the British Championship. I believe he lives in London. I don't know too much more about it. He's actually the team manager of a German Bundesliga team, of a German First League team, which he retreated, or together with the other bosses of the club, they retreated the team from the German Bundesliga after the last season, and they want to simply migrate it to the 4NCL with the same players, of course.
To the foreign?
4NCL, to the British League.
Oh, they want to take a German team to the...
Yeah. So they want to take the players. They can't take the team because it's located in a German town.
So they want to create a team in England with the same name?
Yeah. No, not the same name. The same players.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem then. They just create a team in England, no?
No, yeah, that's because they're not happy with the German Bundesliga statutes or something like this. Mm-hmm. So they simply decide to change
countries.
Change leagues, yeah.
Change leagues.
I'm not sure if they can start in the 4NCL. I guess they have to qualify for it first, but that's the plan.
I think it's a bit different because I think that the 4NCL doesn't have anything to do with the federation.
Really?
I'm not quite sure, but I think they're two separate entities.
I should really know that being the commentators of the British Championship.
That is true.
I should really know that.
You should try and find out that.
That's what you get for randomly choosing your commentators.
Yeah.
Also that. Okay.
So he's German, but he's playing he lives in London, so that's why he's playing the British Championship.
Played against him once in the Bundesliga as well. Okay, so
D4, D5,
C4. Yeah, just some Queen's Gambit, and also playing against the hanging pawns, also with a knight on E5, similar to what Gawain is trying to achieve. Okay, this looks like just a little bit more pleasant for white. White does have some pressure against these pawns. Of course, black made all the natural development moves, but still, I would prefer white. It's really much easier to play against these pawns. And knight e5 is also a common maneuver to increase the pressure.
Vacate the f3 square for the bishop, and maybe change one of black's knights to attack the pawns. I'm not sure that the queen is on a good spot on a5.
It can't be hit. So, but where else would you put it?
Well, I thought in these structures the queen would normally go to b6, although
then I always have knight.
Then you have knight e4. That is true. So maybe slightly better for white in this position, but
pretty sure about
still everything to play for. No, rook fd8 or a solid move just to centralize would be the probably best option.
He'll take
for
first,
black.
or I don't know, like this.
Nice. That seems more or less okay.
Some normal
Bishop
moves.
f3. And now see what to do, no? Because there's quite a bit of pressure on the d5 pawn now, and it's pinned against the bishop.
We can't go rook b8.
Ugly because you'll be hit by the bishop on f4. So maybe there's more problems than what at first sight looks like, no? Queen a6 maybe.
Okay, still easier for white to play. Maybe even queen b3 is possible sometimes. Yeah, just increase your pressure bit by bit. Maybe, I don't know, it's g4? No.
Oh, g4. Nice.
It's possible, but it's risky. Okay, we'll see. I think white is preferable in this position. And also it's a nice situation to have when you're the favorite player.
Okay, now we have an interesting position in the fifth board between Peter Batchelor, a young feeder master, with white against Nicholas Pert with black. Pert is the player, I remember yesterday you said that he would do a miniature in very few moves, and that's what happened in the game. He won that 17 move, what was it? The pawn sacrifice with e4, knight takes e4.
The refused Blumfeld Gambit,
exactly,
or the Blumfeld Gambit counter Gambit.
Counter Gambit.
That's what he played.
That's the one. So now he's playing with black against Batchelor, and I think it's some sort of Slav. Yeah.
Queen's Gambit accepted.
This A5
ended up
A5 instead of bishop takes E5. I didn't know that move. It's theoretic.
Isn't black supposed to not allow A5? I don't know. I don't play these lines.
I thought bishop B4 was the correct move now and then, but white normally takes on C4 first. He takes on C4 and then bishop B4. So he played A5 first.
And then just Queen A4.
I'm not sure which is the move
Queen
here
E7.
for. No idea. This A5 move, never seen it before. But I'm sure it must be theoretical.
I always thought if white can get it in, it's preferable for him, because black cannot stabilize his piece on b4. The bishop is well placed here. Also the knight sometimes can come to b4, so it's a really nice square to have. But if white can, he likes to play a5, and then sometimes he threatens a6 to shatter black's pawn structure.
There must be something, because there's 10,000 games with bishop takes c4 and only 186 with a5. So
it's a sideline.
It's a sideline.
There's probably a reason why it's not considered the...
Bishop b4 in principle is the main move. And after queen a4, queen e7, take on c4, and castle.
Okay.
2 castles and knight bd7. So more or less what's happened in the game, no? Well,
more or less.
There was this h6 move, which maybe was not necessary. So it's a sideline, but it does get in this move you wanted to play, which is a5. So that does have some value.
So I believe normally white tries to get e4 in. So the queen is needed on e2 sometimes.
Yes.
So maybe this is the drawback, that you have to remove the queen from d1, and it's really difficult to push e4. But I'm really not an expert in this line.
But that sounds very sensible, because the only way to get e4 in clearly now is with the queen on e2. And the queen's on a4.
Yeah, you can't really go rook e1 because it's going to be pinned.
Pinning. So that must be the drawback of playing a5, because you have to play queen a4 to protect the pawn on a5.
But now once the queen went to e7, he relocates his queen and goes rook a4 to hit this bishop, which looks very sensible now that e4 is out of the question.
And the bishop fell back to d6.
Okay, and now the question is whether these heavy pieces are well placed here or not so much. Probably the rook is not too happy. Although maybe it's dreaming of a swing to...
Can you grab the pawn on b7, or that's too risky? Will your
I
queen
would
be
assume
trapped?
you can't.
Will your queen be trapped at some point there?
Maybe just go c5 or something.
Rook b8, and if queen takes c6, rook c8? Can the queen get out of there?
Yeah, I thought you go to a6 anyway, because you... I really don't know. What is...
Well, it's trapped, but you can't attack it, so...
Okay, but maybe you can prepare to attack it. But how?
And it's 2 pawns.
Like this?
Like that. Queen... Ooh.
I don't believe it, though. Okay, I have queen c6 after that.
Or just bishop a2 and queen e2 afterwards. Get the queen out of there somehow. It's a bit strange, but it's 2 pawns. I should think there probably should be compensation for 1 pawn, but maybe not for 2. So he grabbed the pawn.
He did?
He grabbed the pawn. Now that
brave guy.
Is brave. Very brave.
That's the wrong game.
Mr. Batchelor. Very brave.
Okay, let's try to understand what's happening. So
he grabbed the pawn.
Position in the game.
He grabbed the pawn. He grabbed the pawn.
Do I have some bishop c2 stuff maybe to stop the queen?
Hit the rook and the queen can't go back.
But how do I catch the queen then? Maybe just a6 or something? Can that be possible? Just a6?
Or if we defend the c6 pawn somehow, then we do threaten...
No, we don't need to, because the queen doesn't have any escape squares
Okay.
from there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay,
Yes.
so black seems to have a draw.
At least.
Yeah.
So white would have to find a good move now, no? So what to do with whites? If we take the pawn, black just hits the queen and a minimum draw.
Yeah, I think black
Maybe
simply has a
even
draw.
more.
Maybe we see a quick draw. Maybe that's it. Probably it's just a draw line, which we, of course, know nothing about.
I can check.
Do it.
Maybe... Well,
Make us
it
wise.
doesn't seem to be theoretical here. But I go back a couple of moves. There was one move with rook a4. And this game with rook a4... Black took the knight on c3 in this earlier game.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think it's just a draw.
Now he's just played bishop c2.
Yeah.
So Hawkins has gone bishop... Nicholas Pert has gone bishop c2, cutting off all the escape squares for the queen. Bishop b3 doesn't work because of rook b8. And the rook really has to go to... But
this is not enough for the queen.
What is it? Rook, pawn, and piece?
Yeah.
But there's too many pieces on the board.
I prefer black here. Yeah, it's a little bit better for black.
Quick c5 and activating the pieces. And
Yeah, some weaknesses here on the b file. Pawn on a5 might be vulnerable in some lines. I think it's just going to be a draw. And you know what makes me most positive about that? Well, not positive, but most sure about it, is the rating difference. So
Yes.
white is heading for a draw against the
player is 200 points higher. And
yeah.
So let's go through, just in case, bishop c2, rook a2. And let's just check if there's any other dangerous moves for... So a6 would be the way to try and trap the queen and force a draw. But is there any way of winning the queen somehow?
I don't see it.
For instance, rook b8.
Okay, which one?
Let's say the f... Okay, the rook. We take on a7.
Nope. No, that
And I
looks
just chase the rook and chase the queen, and that's it, no?
Yeah. Doesn't have anywhere to go.
No escape squares. But here, for instance, is there any other way of attacking the queen? For black, I mean.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Looks like a draw. But the thing is, white doesn't have to take. He can, on a7 at least, he can take on c6 and then
really
swing over to a6 and hide behind this.
So we have to play a6 to get that square out of bounds, yeah. And what happens if, against a6, white takes the pawn on a6 with the bishop?
What is this? Some line. So, wait, that was takes. Let's look at your line in just a second. I'm trying to understand what's happening here. Because the queen is tied to defending this bishop. But it can't and doesn't have any squares anymore. Here it's actually even being trapped.
No, so maybe he has to capture the a7 pawn instead of the c6 pawn.
Yeah, maybe that. So apparently rook ab8 is a even more forcing draw than a6. Although I don't see what to do after a6 either.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about capturing the pawn with the bishop against a6.
Oh, but then I just want to go here.
And rook takes
then
c6.
Oh yeah, that works.
It all seems to be hanging by a thread, but maybe it's okay.
Yeah, that seems to work.
So rook b8, queen takes a7.
Yeah, right. Okay, probably it's just rook b8 and draw.
And then just keep attacking the queen and then rook c8 to protect the pawn.
Wait, what about queen a6?
Queen a6.
Oof, this is confusing.
Of course.
So we don't even have a clear way of repeating the moves.
but the one is going to appear, I'm sure.
I don't quite believe in that, because now these both pieces are somewhat
But I was
lost.
looking if there was a way to take advantage of that, and I couldn't find it.
Well, maybe we're not in such a hurry.
Maybe c5, now that the coordination is not good, just go for c5 and open up some other ways of attacking the queen and the bishop at the same time.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to react, and even if I take, you can't take with the knight. Rook
b8, take on c6. So maybe it's not so clear.
Okay, let's...
In any case, Nicholas Pert still hasn't played the rook. He's looking for a square for the rook. Maybe considering a2 or a1, maybe there's some difference. I think a2 is better, but who knows?
Does it make sense to play b3? In some lines? Nah, probably not. Okay, so just to recap quickly. This is the position on the board. There's not too many choices that white has here. He probably is going to retreat to the rook either to a2 or to a1, or go b3, which I don't believe though. So let's say rook a2, and now it's on black to find some way to repeat the moves, or take some advantage from the exposed queen on b7. After all, it's a pawn, so black has to prove something. Maybe he can play it a bit slower. I thought about moves like knight d5 or knight e4, because there's no easy way to untangle with white here either. That's really where we should look at what the engine is saying, but we won't.
We won't. We'll try to do without it, like the players on the board. So, yeah. Okay, well, should we leave this game for a while and check some other games?
Yeah.
Then we can always come back in a while and see how the game is developed.
Admit our ignorance. We don't know what is happening here.
It does feel like there should be a draw for black, but
how?
But it's not crystal clear. At least I can't see it.
Neither can I.
So let's jump over to another game.
Let's move over
in a while. So
let's look at Lawrence Trent's game. He's playing
Lawrence
against.
Is on board.
I just found this game against Charlie Story.
Charles Story.
I believe authored a book about the sniper, which he refuses to play against Lawrence. However, the sniper is this opening where you fianchetto the bishop, and then C5, pretty much regardless of what white does, you go c5, and then this is a sniper bishop shooting all across the area. Instead, he goes c6. I played Caro-Kann against Lawrence once myself, although I don't have it in my repertoire. But he played some funky lines, which looked fun to me. So here he goes for another sideline, Queen f3. What is this? Just forcing black into some kind of French structure?
I think the idea is that after d4, white can play bishop c4 intermezzo. It's one of the ideas of the line.
And then move the knight.
And then move the knight in d3.
Was that too risky?
I think this was bad.
Yeah, it looks very risky. Okay, probably just takes and just mate the guy.
I think it's a bit dangerous, no? But
yeah, it's very dangerous, definitely.
I know bishop c4 is theoretical, so and capturing the knight is not good. I'm sure I'd find a good way over the board to
e6 looks very logical.
E6 is very solid, yes.
Yeah, now the setup looks a little bit artificial, but okay. Queen b6.
Attacking the pawn. Aha! He's sacrificing mode, Trent, today.
Yeah. Okay, but what else? Bishop e3 is of course impossible because this pawn would be left undefended. And knight e2 is not a move you want to do. Because
blocking the bishop.
You're blocking the bishop, yeah. So bishop d3. And he decided to take. Knight g2, queen b6. So huge lead in development for white, and Lawrence offers another pawn for the taking, which, however, black refuses here with bishop c5. Well, very interesting. Well, just from the look of it, it looks like even after castles, white has enough for the pawn. I mean, he's got 4 extra pieces or 5 extra pieces developed.
I normally use 3 pieces for a pawn as a rule of thumb.
So. Better rule of thumb? Okay.
So 3 pieces, and the initiative is normally what I suggest could be good.
Yeah, black's position is very solid. So it's not so easy to break through.
I think I'd be more or less happy to play this position with a pawn for the initiative. Although it's not crystal clear by whatever means, but I think it's okay to play this. 2 pawns. Yeah. It's more aggressive.
Okay,
of course, if queen takes b2, there's more pieces we're bringing out to attack. So
maybe this is still looks quite dangerous, but maybe black can get away with that. So bishop e3, bishop c5, queen takes b2. I guess he just wanted to castle and have another extra file to work with. And maybe just sacrifice something on d5, rip everything open, and
that does seem dangerous.
Okay, so bishop c5, now knight a4 would be nice if it worked with a double attack, but of course black has an in-between check. So, well, he'll have to take. Or maybe he's considering castling because this is just helping white.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, castles is actually a strong move.
Castles
because now knight a4 is threatening.
Now it's threatened. So he practically has to exchange bishops.
But here...
Or does he have d4 there? No, because d4, knight a4, no? So, or is that, let's see there?
No, looks good.
Because queen a5, take on c5, take on the e3.
We
can also take with a pawn and threaten mate, which is also interesting.
Almost mate, at least. Mate enough. I just grab the rook.
Yeah,
and also
this
here.
Looks good, yeah. So, castle looks good. He's still thinking.
Yeah. Bishop c5 maybe wasn't that great of an idea after all. Okay, let's just be really bold and take the second pawn as well. Okay, all of these arrows, they look nice, but it's not as simple as that. I guess now even a4 is a threat because the bishop controls the b6 square.
You might trap the queen.
But okay, I have queen b4 at least.
Maybe a3 is a threat.
Yeah. a3 is a threat, and then rook b1.
And if he takes, you have to rook a2, I think.
So we have to spend another move for a queen.
And now pawn takes pawn. You can't take with the c pawn because of knight b5. So if you have to take with the e pawn, rook e1, this does look quite dangerous.
But it's 2 pawns. You'd rather be white here, I understand.
I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. Are you a pawn grabber or are you an attacker?
Depends what I have to play. If I have to grab
I'm seeing bishop d4 and knight f4 here and knight g3, h5. And
it's easier to play for white, right? You just throw all your pieces at the enemy's king.
I mean, if he plays bishop a6, you go knight f4. If he plays knight f6, you go bishop d4. I think he's practically crushed here.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
But it's 2 pawns. Okay. Did I say that already?
Play a move.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you'll find a defense against me, but I'd love to play this position.
Yeah, okay.
Because I see a very quick, now bishop d4.
Okay.
And now knight g3, maybe.
Knight g3.
Or knight f4, I'm not sure which of the two.
But even here the king is not very safe.
I thought I could capture your bishop on e7, I must say. That's a blunder on my part. But hopefully you found a move. Because if knight takes h5, you could even sacrifice knight 7.
Oh, the double bishop sacrifice.
The Lasker double, no? Or the Kasparov one.
Lawson, was it? I don't know.
I think it was Lasker and then Kasparov. Now rook somewhere. And hopefully you're crushing, and if not,
hopefully.
At least it was a
fun game.
It was good fun, yeah. Yeah, I think you're crushing here.
So maybe.
I think it was Lasker who did it. And then Kasparov did it afterwards. The double Lasker against
Kasparov. I don't even know which game.
Lasker, a very famous Lasker game in 19 something or other. I'll tell you afterwards.
The textbook game, right?
Yeah, the double. Right. First it was and then Kasparov did it in some other game with a small variation. So 2 pawns, but with
at the very
800 pieces developed and the king badly placed.
Okay.
No way of getting through.
At least we're in for a treat here. I'm pretty sure this game is going to become very exciting.
But he, that was if he was going to capture the b2 pawn,
Yeah.
but he did play bishop c5.
Still exciting.
And Trent is still thinking about his move, but... Oh, look, he just castled.
Of course he did.
So he took a few minutes, but I think he found the correct move. And now knight a4 is a very strong threat. So maybe black will have problems. Let's see what would happen after bishop takes e3, f takes e3. Now how can you defend that? Bishop, queen c7 maybe.
Thing is, I can use my e-pawns now to open up the position.
Oof, you have knight b5, d6, all sorts of things there. This is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
This is knight b5 and queen g3. No,
this can't work.
This can't work. It's
Yeah,
very, very
looks very good for white.
Very good for white. Okay, so let's leave Trent with the decision. Should we see how Simon Williams is going?
Let's do it. Let's cater to our
Mr. Williams.
viewers' desires. Yeah, so what happened here? Another one knight f3 and transposed to a
Against John Richardson.
Chigurin defense. So Simon Williams playing the Chigurin here.
Chigurin defense.
Haven't seen that in a while in tournament chess, although I used to play it for many years.
Morozevic was the
the
great Chigurin player now. He hardly plays now, so...
Yeah, because it's kind of refuted, which is a tragedy, but...
That's a pity. Which is the best line nowadays against Chigurin?
Any of the main lines. Well, c4 is, of course, possible.
But when you say refuted, white has a small advantage, but nothing...
Yeah,
nothing,
no, of course.
It's playable still.
Yeah, there's another tricky line, not going c4, but putting developing the bishop to b5, which I like to play in blitz sometimes.
I know that one.
It's really difficult to cope with if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Of course, it's also possible to fianchetto the bishop. Although here, this is not too scary for black. There's a couple of different ways to develop and at least not fly off the board like we saw in the game before.
I used to play the Chigurin many years ago. And the lines with c4, I like to play them. When white was playing g3 or bishop f4, the most solid variations, then I was lacking ideas and I normally ended up with passive positions. So I abandoned the defense.
I think Simon is simply trying to play the London with black. So we looked at some game yesterday and we looked at some London lines. I believe it was this position.
There in the Hebden.
Yeah,
game.
where he advocates playing like this, right?
Do you think he's trying to get this position the other?
Something similar. He's trying to get something similar. He wants to play with the long castles and h5 and h4. Just act as if he never was a tempo down, and sometimes it works. Okay, so here actually, I had this position couple of times myself. h3 is one of the main moves, and c4 is also possible. I think short castles here is not the most exact move, simply because bishop h3 immediately exchanges those bishops without any problems. So after h3, black now has a choice between all legal bishop moves that don't blunder anything. So h3, I believe, is the main move, and the other one is c4, simply trying to make use of the fact that black doesn't have great central control and challenge the d5 pawn, because taking is almost... Well, it's possible, but it's dangerous. So e6 is the main move here, I believe, and now at least bishop h3 is not possible anymore. But I think castles is not the critical of all tries, the most critical. So bishop h3, and now black is kind of comfortable. He won't have trouble along this long diagonal. He won't have trouble with the center. He will be able to exchange and play solidly with e6 if he pleases. I do have the feeling that he doesn't please to play so. Simon probably just wants to mate his opponent. So yeah, let's just continue how the game proceeded.
Take.
Bishop e4.
Yeah. That's a very, very comfortable position for black.
Okay, so probably black is not in time to play with the long castles, but I mean, you have to be flexible enough to adjust to whatever is happening on the board. And here,
rook c8.
Rook c8 happened.
Yep.
Okay. So how can this position be evaluated? I'm not sure black is too happy here, though, because white will simply activate his rooks and maybe have some pressure against these pawns. And maybe push his pawns at some point. I think I wouldn't be too happy here with black.
Instead of knight g7, maybe f6.
Wait, is e6 possible here?
Now. Goes to the g7 pawn.
Am I dropping material?
This seems to be okay. Yeah, it seems to be okay.
But is it more than okay for someone?
Now rook d6.
I don't know.
Queen f4.
Okay, we can repeat moves. We can go into this end game.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe queen f4, claiming a slight edge.
Yeah,
We've got the bishop with an open position with pawns on both flanks, so I'd prefer white here.
No, of course, he had to play knight d7 because the d5 pawn was attacked before. I was trying to find a way to prevent the knight going to e5, but not possible. So, the position on the board after rook c8, e6 is an interesting move, no?
Yeah.
Trying to create some complications and going for the... The other move would be something like rook fd1, which also was probably okay, no? Or even bishop takes knight and then try to hit the d5 pawn. Is that okay?
Yeah. Although I should have d4 and queen takes e5.
Okay.
So, but white is not in a hurry to do that. Let's say rook fd1 looks like the most natural move, because now castles doesn't work.
Now you're
wait, do we have d4 here? Oof.
All those intermediate moves.
Maybe
But
we can
at least
grab
you can
this one.
grab the pawns, no?
And then if he grabs this one, we grab this one, he grabs this one. All of this grabbing going on. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe castles is possible. But that's not exactly what you want to have with black, because white is the one dictating the pace of the game.
Also, you can't really play that because after d1 castle, if you take on e7 in d4, you just move the bishop back.
Oh yeah,
no?
of course, the queen is pinned.
Well, there is a check, but he has queen f3. Yeah. So just bishop g5 would be okay, or even capture the rook, So,
not awake yet.
rook fd1 looks okay then, keeping the pressure.
Okay, so maybe...
I have a feeling he's going to do e6 though, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Richard is
it's tempting, right?
He's thinking, but he might see that the queen and the bishop are sort of uncoordinated there, but rook fd1 looks okay. Maybe even e3 is okay, but now d4 straight away.
Yeah, d4. Let's see.
Of course, now if you play queen f3, for instance, then black might be able to play knight d5.
Yeah, d4 is the best move here. I don't see any problems for black. We can follow up with knight c6, knight d5, maybe queen d5 check, depending on where the queen is going to go. So maybe e6 is the most, it looks like the most critical try. So this is out of the question, right? Because that's just a little bit too loose. Yeah, we have to take with the queen. Queen takes.
Queen takes, queen takes.
Rook g8.
Rook g8 seems normal.
And queen has to keep touch with the bishop, so one of those moves. Queen h6 looks a little bit illogical. So queen f6. All of these endgames, I'm just going to claim white will have a slight edge.
Yes, I agree.
So, but how can black avoid this? Maybe something like this? Okay, then it's going to be a rook endgame, I guess. Or maybe still...
And if we exchange everything on e7, what do you think?
Let's check this out. I think it's just an equal rook endgame. Black has one extra pawn island, but he also has some nice central pawns.
So one thing balance the other, no?
Yeah, I think.
Also, the rooks are active. Rook b6.
Yeah,
it seems quite active. No, king's in the center as well. I even think the black could be slightly.
I agree.
I'm not sure if slightly better, but at least it's easier to play to find the moves for black here, no?
Yeah, and the king is also more active, which is a factor in the endgame. This king is just already taking place in the game while this king...
e6 played.
Oh, played? Okay.
So we'll come back here in a while and see if we're in this ending.
Okay.
Let's see more games. For instance, Mark Hebden against Jackson, board number 7. That's one game we haven't seen yet. And the other game we haven't seen is John Ems against Jack Rudd on board number 8. We can check one of these two games.
Let's be slaves to the first 10 games and look at all of them, so no one can say we didn't. And then let's zoom in onto the most interesting ones.
The most interesting one, yes.
Okay, so this doesn't strike me as the most interesting one. It's just one of those
very
typical
close game, no?
slow Rui Lopez,
yep.
maybe Italian. No, Rui Lopez. I never know who's better here and why. Most of the time it's white, just a tiny bit better, but it's going to end in a draw. But yeah, I guess white does have some more squares for his pieces on the queen side, and black's pawns are a little bit vulnerable, but I really never understand these positions. Do you?
Well, if you don't understand them, you're the grandmaster. No, but they're slow positions, no? Lots of manoeuvring and making sure you keep the correct pieces and don't exchange off the wrong pieces, no? But black has 2 pawns in the center, so it seems he's pressing a bit in the center. I think black has the initiative in this position, but doesn't seem that anything bad is happening to white. For instance, now white has just played queen c2, so he's protecting the e4 pawn. And black can play now, for instance, he could exchange pawns in the center if he wanted to, but I don't see any reason to do that.
Well, if you play this structure, then this bishop is always a little bit
I would
more
keep the pawns flexible there.
passive.
Maybe something like queen e7.
Yeah, this is why I would
C8
have played bishop c5 here, just to increase the pressure against b4 and stop black from going. I guess the bishop just came from f8 at some point. So
he did the maneuver.
No, but the thing is, I want to exchange at some point and play knight c4. So I really want to open the e file, and this is a nice square for the bishop because it can't be hit that easily. Black cannot remove his bishop and then put the knight to d7 because of this nasty pin. So why not bishop c5? I mean, queen c2, of course, it's a useful move, but is it the most important thing to do right now?
Yes, well,
queen e7,
the pawn wasn't under attack really, so...
Yeah, on the other hand, this vis-a-vis with the rook maybe is not the greatest.
That would be a problem sooner or later. So bishop c5 was good instead of queen c2. It's strange why
maybe knight b3 still is kind of annoying to deal with.
Threatening bishop c5.
I was thinking d4, but that looks like it would simplify. Maybe even to black's favor. Again, I really don't know what's... wait,
the bishop with c6.
Okay, then I guess I'll just take... don't know. This. Just take everything, and probably it's going to be a draw. Yeah, but knight b3 is annoying. I'd rather be white. All of it looks just a little bit easier to handle for white. Okay, and the last game we haven't checked yet, on the first 10 boards at least, would be John Ems against Jack Rudd. All 4-letter names. Easy to remember, easy to
what do we have here? Benoni, which transposed to some sort of Queen's Gambit. Knight f3, c4, c5, e3, d5, knight c3,
just an IQP position.
Yes.
Which looks a little bit more pleasant for white. One pair of knights has been exchanged. The pawn is quite weak, and white's play is very easy. He might blockade the pawn, or he might simply try to win it immediately. Yeah, that's just a little bit more pleasant for white. And also he's threatening to exchange queens. Yeah, that's a nice position to have as the favorite.
Small advantage for white here. Very good. So we've looked at the main games.
Okay.
So let's check.
We fulfilled our first duty.
Let's check in on the games at the top level.
Let's go back to to board number 1.
Board number 1, where we have Pritchard Howell. Hardly has advanced the position.
Yeah.
Only a few moves.
Only 5 moves, and David spent another half an hour on c5. It's like he didn't learn from yesterday's mistakes. we have to give kudos to him for still winning this game, which... Well, we left the broadcast, left the studio, assuming that nothing much is going to happen because we really couldn't think of a way how Black could bungle it. But there was one, and if there was one, then
and he did it.
There's a chance, and so great persistence, perseverance by David, and after all, a deserved win. So Queen B3. Knight f6 happened, and now after bishop b2, c5. Yeah, what's there?
C5, so 29 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure about c5 though. Usually you don't want to go c5 now anymore. You can just take, and then just c6. Try to harass this pawn and continue developing naturally, or maybe the other way around.
I heard Kramnik say once that if you think more than 18 minutes.
18.
I think he said 18.
Okay.
You'll for sure make a mistake because you're just going over round and round and circular thinking. And look, 29 minutes. I mean, what can you think about for 30 minutes? How many variations can you calculate? Do you need to calculate it?
No, there is this idea that many players have that when they think too much of on a position, they will make a mistake anyway.
Exactly.
So, but I think that's actually a misconception. It's just that both very complicated positions where you can make a mistake, and the positions where you even where you actually think a lot, there's a... No, let me phrase it differently. So you tend to think a lot when the position is very complicated, but when the position is very complicated, then the possibility for you to make a mistake is really great. Okay. So whenever you think a lot, you're gonna make a mistake with a higher probability because the position is difficult. Yeah.
But what happens when you think a lot in apparently simple positions, or at least in opening positions where you have 2 or 3 reasonable options?
What happens then is you're gonna lack that time and time trouble. That's what's
that can't be a good strategy, generally speaking. I mean, spending 30 minutes in this position.
No, I don't advocate that. I mean, sometimes there are situations in the game where you decide where the move that you choose will decide over how the game is going to continue in a drastic way. But I'm not sure this is one of them. Okay, so the pawn is hanging. How many possibilities are there to defend the pawn? Because we don't
take on f3 and play c6.
You can take on f3. That's the most natural way to react. Okay, c5, of course. You can think about No, you can't really think about sacrificing the pawn.
We saw what happened yesterday when he sacrificed the pawn.
That's something different.
Not to be tried many times. Of course, this would not be correct. Any other options here?
I think he has to choose basically between these two moves.
Take and take.
So, okay, takes, c6.
With the position which is, okay.
Yeah.
Playable for both players, no? 2 bishops, but Black has a centered pawn.
So next move is e5. White oftentimes develops with g4, which is a way to fianchetto the bishop, but also threaten this knight. But that's not such a big problem.
In any case, it's a big risk to spend so much time.
Yeah.
He played c5, and Pritchard played knight e5, attacking the bishop on g4.
Why not just take? Knight c6? No. Maybe take on knight c6.
And queen a5 at some point. Get the pawn back. Or e5 and bishop takes c5. Yeah, this looks okay.
But maybe now I recapture different.
With the other pawn.
With one of the pawn. Yeah, maybe like this. Queen c7 looks strange.
Well, you lose the d4 pawn. That can't be working.
Okay, I'm just going to go e5, of course.
Wow. So you're letting me capture the b7 pawn.
I don't see what else to do. Okay.
So you think that he might have been calculating these lines?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so, no? But of course, if b takes c5, he has to do something here. And if he plays knight d7, then...
Sometimes you can get away with something like this. I mean, not only get away, but I'll actually get a dangerous initiative. Rook b8 is, of course, a threat, and then e5, e4 is coming quickly.
He could even play rook b8 straight away.
Oh, you mean just like that?
Maybe possible.
Maybe.
So
maybe not.
these are the lines he was calculating before.
Yeah.
But
It
still seems I'm not saying it's a waste of time, but it's not very pragmatic because many of these lines can be calculated, but the other player isn't even going to think of them. I mean, they're not going to happen on the board.
Yeah, and then the other player doesn't take on c5, and everything was...
And everything, all that time
went down the drain.
Because he played knight e5 and quite fast.
Yeah.
So if David Howell is a big-time trial in this game, he's going to miss these 30
That's the whole idea of
minutes.
bishop g4. You want to exchange against this knight, and when to exchange against the knight, if not when this knight is threatening to win a pawn, right? So just from a pragmatic point of view, I would play like this. So, I don't know, maybe he didn't like something concrete. Can't be that bad. We don't know. Maybe he's still under the impression of yesterday's game and still suffering from that in some way. Or maybe he's just exhausted, although he's young and full of energy.
Let's check the game between Gawain Jones and Alexander Lawson. Now, this is the game that you said before Black would have some trouble with his doubled pawns, although it was a group of pawns before, but the c-pawns were doubled. And we were thinking that maybe Black could get some activity with the bishop on the diagonal. So the position has evolved to here. And
so this was, I believe, the position
exactly
we left.
We left it here.
Knight c3, bishop a6 is what happened.
You suggested d3. Rook b8.
Rook e1. Okay. So b3, c4. Yeah, Black is quite active. So if he can... Okay, h6 is strange. Why do you play at h6?
Not quite sure. Maybe he was waiting for White to do something.
But there's more useful moves than
I'm
h6,
sure there is, no?
surely. Even rook e8.
Queen somewhere.
Queen a5.
Queen a5, I was thinking.
Even c4.
Even c4 straight away. And if,
c4, I guess, I just
that
take
would be... And then b3 and bishop b2, knight a4.
Yeah.
But at least rook e8.
h6, I just don't understand.
Rook e8 must have been better than
h6.
I
mean, which piece was he afraid of getting to g5? Or did he see some line when...
Very prophylactic h6.
Yeah, where the king needed some luft on h7. We'll never know.
So, h6.
Okay, h6, e4. He must not have liked something about b3, because to me that looks like the most natural way of developing the pieces. Then probably c4 simplifies too much. Or does it? Well, it needs to be considered. But of course e4 is also a possible way to play. However, in the game, I don't dislike Black's position too much. He does have the double pawns, but some pressure on the b-file and also some squares in White's camp which can be used. However, this knight is quite far away from them still. Maybe knight g4, bishop f6, bishop d4 could be a possible maneuver. Also, of course, the knight from g4 can jump to e5 and then to d3. But White will, of course, try to obstruct this plan. It's not so easy to develop. If you go b3, then also of course
c4, no?
possible. So then bishop f1. Maybe take on b3 and b2.
And to exchange rooks is also quite dangerous, no? Giving him the file. Because when we go b3 and bishop b2, he'll come in with the rook to d2. Seems a bit risky, no?
Can we sacrifice a pawn for activity? I doubt that.
But we need that pawn. That's sort of our best pawns. We might get it back, but that's the best case scenario, no?
Yeah. No.
What if we exchange rooks and play bishop f1? Does that make sense? Bring the king to the center. and then try and get our bishop out a bit later.
Like stay really cool.
It's a bit risky, I understand, but or even
we can bring
bishop f4,
here.
no? And now go for rook d1 or rook c1 maybe. Now we understand h6.
Maybe I'll just
d5. That's the reason he played h6.
Yeah, definitely.
Prophylactic.
Maybe just take with the bishop and then reroute the bishop to somewhere more purposeful. Because this pressure against b2 is quite annoying. We can never go rook b1 because then bishop takes c3. Oh yeah, also bishop, yeah.
Okay, now maybe b3 and if c4, bishop f1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's what I was trying to understand
before. There was a trick.
before.
No, pawn takes pawn now and then b2.
This looks great for black, actually.
Yeah.
Just the material is just equal. Black's pieces are much more active.
So
Maybe
b3 is not possible.
No, this doesn't make much sense.
No.
Okay, so b3, c4. Okay, we can take. I mean, white isn't really. I don't know. He might become worse though. Okay, so let's pursue your idea. Bishop f1 takes bishop a5. Now this pawn is hanging. f3. And here even an idea like this, probably it can be executed better, but if white gets to play something like this, he's happy. Well, just knight d7, I guess. Keeping the options open, and then yeah, still the pressure is really annoying. So these two double pawns, they don't actually, they're not a big problem at this moment in the game, at least. Okay.
Gustav Chatter asks if Trent has any compensation for the pawn he sacrificed. We thought that he had some compensation after castle.
I think
so black played knight h6 to get the knight out and protect the f7 pawn.
I think the proper question should be whether black was going to survive this position.
But we didn't consider knight h6. That seems...
No, yeah.
Okay, well, it's not a nice move to make, but it does fulfill the objective of getting your king into safety, no? So after queen g3...
I'm surprised he didn't go g4.
g4,
yeah.
straight away. Well, it's interesting because now castle is just not possible, no? Well, maybe he can go pawn takes pawn intermezzo, but it's very, very suspicious.
Yeah.
Knight takes, knight f5. And who knows if he can go knight f6 there?
Probably he can.
Calculate.
Oh, wait.
There's attack on the e3 pawn.
Yeah, but even something like that, knight d4, I don't think you would castle here, because you're just helping white's attack. But what else then? e5, g5.
Yeah, castle's bad because we can go e takes d5 and then g5. So
yeah.
g4, g4, f6 maybe.
I'm a bit disappointed in Lawrence.
f6, g5, and then queen h5. So
yeah.
all of these things seem to work for white, or at least get. Yeah, g5 was interesting. He played queen g3.
Okay, so maybe he saw something concrete. Queen g3, castles, and now I guess he wants to play rook f6. His fingertips are tingling. I know this guy, he's really getting hot for his attacking chances right now. Okay, I guess king h8 or g6. It looks tempting, I admit. So maybe queen g3 simply is a stronger move than g4, which is why Lawrence chose not to go g4.
Queen g3 castle. And now there's rook f6. What can black play here? King h8. Let's take on h6, take on d5. And are we mating there somehow?
Maybe just.
Or we're lacking some tempo?
Oof, I don't know.
Don't you want to take on d5 first, just in case? We can leave that for afterwards, no?
Yeah.
Get the queen.
Maybe I want to go e5.
Okay.
Because
well, let's go queen h4 then. That looks very.
But then he'll
very
take
sensible.
with the check and go queen g5. Maybe queen f4.
Queen f4. That's the move.
You don't.
H6,
if you sacrifice an exchange like that, and you've also already sacrificed a pawn, but you don't necessarily have to calculate until the end. Just see some ideas, be a little bit.
Make
pragmatic.
sure there's not a refutation immediately for your opponent in 2 or 3 moves. That's always...
But even long term, you have great compensation. Even something like this maybe is conceivable. Rook f1, of course. We'll just play it slow. There's no need to be in a hurry here. Except if it's immediately winning. There are some ideas, maybe even with queen d6.
Oh, look, I see an idea here.
Dark squares are really...
You can take on d5, check on e5, sack on d5, and then check on queen e7. That looks very...
So
very
I'll take, like...
sacrifice.
Want to sacrifice?
Yes, because then you have queen e5 check, f6 and queen e7. Hitting the rook and mate on h7.
Ah, okay. So I guess then I just
you have that one. Oh, I missed that one. And the queen defends. It's a pity.
It's a nice idea, though.
It's a pity.
So
maybe
Michael's idea was...
No, we can't do it the other way around.
Show that.
That was a nice idea. But if it doesn't work,
then it doesn't
it's
work.
not nice anymore.
No.
So, but yeah, we can just keep on putting out the pressure. Rook f1, or bring the knight over to... But queen e4...
Maybe queen f4 is the most testing, because I'm threatening all kinds of stuff now, and I'm still keeping touch with the pawn.
This can't be bad. I mean, this looks very good for white. It looks very promising.
That's the position. Short castles, right?
Yes, but Lawrence is considering his move now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the only good move in the position. Like, even knight f4 and knight h5 is really awkward to meet for black. But I really like rook f6 just from the aesthetic point of view. What about g6? Nah, that can't work. Can it? We'll just take here, and this is coming.
Yes.
There's a pin.
Yeah.
Of course,
the pin is very strong.
We'll just sacrifice
g6
and take everything. And
rook f6 looks like a very, very testing move for black. I'm not sure he can find a good solution there. What can he do? King h8 is practically forced. And then we just sack on h6 and... Okay, there's not a direct win, but it looks very strong.
Maybe Lawrence is not only going for a direct win, but for the beauty prize. Also...
I was thinking queen f4, knight g8, or queen d6. Queen d6.
Nah, that's... First of all, there's a check, and second, there's knight d7.
Knight d7. No, rook takes h6 must be the move here. And then either queen f4 or... The thing is, will he find it? Will he find it? Or does he need to calculate a force variation? Aha.
Is this possible sometimes?
That is also very nice. He does have knight f5.
A lot of ideas. So he probably is getting lost in all of these nice lines right now.
Now if it was a blitz game, he'd have blitzed out rook f6 immediately. But the thing is, when you start calculating variations and you don't see them fulfill, then you sort of... I sometimes get a bit afraid of doing the move, no?
Yeah, or maybe he's just like a kid in a candy store trying to choose between the most delicious treats. Because it really looks very promising. Rook f6.
Does he have any other moves apart from rook f6?
He can play anything. He can just double on the f-file.
So maybe he's considering
he's looking for the most forcing continuations. Nah, I'm sure he wants to play rook f6. He's trying to make sure that there's no better, easier way. Because he really wants to play this move. I'm pretty sure of that.
Okay, so while Lawrence is considering rook f6, we're going to jump over to see one of the other games, how they're... See, Pritchett is still... Howell is still thinking after knight e5. He's on a real big think. Let's check on Luke Mcshane.
Okay.
That excellent position he had in the opening. After this a5 that we think he might...
See, I told you he was going to take on a5 and go a3.
21 minutes for that decision.
No, it's a sad decision to make, but if you don't have anything else, then you have to do it. Okay, of course, black is a little bit better here. He has the more active pieces and this weakness on a3. But, I mean, it's just an a-pawn, so sometimes you can even sacrifice it if you get active play on the open files. But you don't want to sacrifice it and invite the opponent's pieces to become more active. So a3 is very logical here. Rook c5.
Queen b3.
Trying to make use of the current lack of coordination in white's camp. So rook c5. Because if white is in time to go d3 and then maneuver the knight around,
he'd be more or less okay.
Yeah, he'd be fine. Then he'd had some pressure
on b7 as well.
To the queen side, yeah. So this is why Luke decides to go for something concrete. Queen b3.
So after the change of queens, b6. So he can play bishop b6. And bishop b2 looks okay as long as the rook has a safe square. Oh, okay. He's going to change on g7.
Yeah.
So bishop b6.
If black attacks the rook, which happened, bishop b6, a developing move. He wants to exchange here first.
Take.
No, this looks also quite good. But here probably simply black has an advantage.
Rook bb1.
Yeah, that's the position.
And this is the position. 1 hour for Luke Mcshane, 37 minutes for Andrew Horton. And black looking to increase his advantage. Candidate moves here.
So rook a8, knight d4.
Knight d4, no?
Not what you want to have. Yeah. Although you have bishop d5 there still. You can play bishop d5 here as well, and after a move like d3, simply take.
Then you can go rook a8 or knight d4. Yeah.
Not sure how bad that really is.
Well, if you take on f3 and then play rook a8 and rook a4, this is going to be tough to defend. Well, you can play rook a4 first and leave the rook on.
But
and just
probably black wants more here already. Okay, so what about this line? Okay. Oh wait, this doesn't work, of course. Bishop takes d5.
Ooh, tactics. So
okay, so rook a8 is...
Leave rook a8 for the moment. And how can we improve our position here? So we can go possibly rook c2. Could be a possible move. Although he might have knight e1, so you have to be careful there.
White just wants to go rook c1 and exert some pressure on the c file.
Okay, so there's no point in doing rook c2 then.
Yeah.
So we would really need to get the rook on f8 working.
d5 makes sense to neutralize this long-ranging bishop. So rook c1 here is possible. Yeah, or this rook endgame. Yeah, maybe that's the best white can achieve, this rook endgame. Okay, let's check this.
So rook c1, rook takes.
Just rook a8.
In principle, rook a8 looks good.
Say
d3.
Threatening this one.
The idea e4. And now we have to play correctly. Now let's see what to do here. What to do, because...
Not that easy.
That's not easy. Okay, if we change on f3 and play knight d4, then that would probably end up in a draw.
So you're playing with...
Oh, you do. No, I didn't see that. But it's working, so...
Yeah, but I just take on c7.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought now take on f3 and take on a3 is probably a draw. But, the other variation I didn't see. So just drop to rook, free of charge. Not very good for me. So rook c1, not so easy. Let's think a bit more here then. What should black play here?
Seems maybe just something knight a5.
Yeah, it seems that the knight is on a bad square on c6. We need to improve it. So
leave the pawn for a moment and just stabilize the position.
Yeah.
Although this rook is not too happy now. He doesn't have the a file. Okay. Now, let's try this.
Rook c1, knight d4 is another idea.
Knight d4, yeah.
That rook c1 is very natural. And if he takes, now maybe knight b3, but then the c7 pawn is falling.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Maybe c5.
c5, yeah. Yeah, and here just plant some piece on b3.
And try and improve with the rook.
But knight g5 is coming.
Knight g5 is coming. So not so easy.
No, it's not so easy.
It seems that black must have a slight advantage, but...
And I'm sure he does, but you still have to play precise.
So Horton found a good move taking on a5 and playing a3, because the other variations would have left him in big trouble. This is more or less playable. How did your piece go to the queen side so easy?
Quite a sad opening story for white.
Well, if the time's not wrong, Luke has been taken already. He's taken 22 minutes to calculate this move. So he's really digging deep in this position.
Yeah, it's a critical moment because either you walk away with an advantage or everything just simplifies and it's a draw, which is what you want to avoid.
Okay, so I'm checking the other game to see which one we can bring up with interest. Let's see, Mr. Pert. Do you want to go and see Pert again? He captured the pawn and went back, so there was no trap. What happened here then? So bishop c2.
We really got stuck on this game.
Rook e1 and knight d5. You mentioned this idea just before we left the game. And white captured on d5 and ran away with the queen. So, extra pawn, but no light square bishop.
I guess knight b4 is a threat here. Rook b8 first and then knight b4. Okay, so, yeah.
So that's why he probably didn't put the rook on a2, because it would even come stronger with...
Someone in the chat wrote that rook a2 would take away a square from the bishop. In some lines, it's really useful to be able to play bishop
Queen
a2.
a6 and queen 2. So, would you be so kind, Ilja?
Oh, of course. I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Filling up. So, capture on d5, and then queen a6.
Okay, so why not with the bishop? I guess because it's slower. No, the bishop has to move. Yeah, okay. So this.
And queen a6. And he ran back with queen. So it's an extra pawn for white, but he does have the dangerous position on the light squares.
Yeah, I don't like white's position. Okay, the bishop is just going to retreat now, and I mean this is not a full pawn, and this bishop is really strong. He's shooting a wake through white's position. Probably not a correct way to say things, but
so full compensation
really,
with the pawn, no?
Yeah, it's really
even more than one pawn. You think? Who knows? No, but
we'd have to check the position more depth. But I would be comfortable playing this with black. It's really easy to play.
Put a rook on the b file and start pressing, and white really can't put his pieces into place. So
how's white?
He has no plan.
Progress?
No real plan here, no.
I guess we'll just exchange this knight and then start pressuring on the queen side.
What was that game? One of the Capablanca games. Very similar. A rook came to c2 and he crushed on the light squares. By the way, the game we mentioned before was Lasker Bauer. 1890. One of the persons in the chat put the reference. Edward Lasker against Johann Bauer. The double bishop sacrifice. One of the classical games.
Do you think knowing the protagonists of this game will help you? Will help the player find the sacrifice?
No, of course not.
Or maybe you could announce it then during the game, even.
This is a classic sacrifice. No, but some of these games I've used with my students, and you end up more or less memorizing the idea and the game. No, that's one of the nicest ones. I like the double sacrifice. Okay, so yes, black is doing very well here. So, or white...
Black is not risking anything. Also.
Could he do anything else instead of capturing on d5? Or no. Before. Was there any other option for white here?
I don't dare to say.
Could he get away with any other move? Queen a6 he can't do. And if he was capturing with the knight, what was the problem? Knight takes d5, c takes d5.
No, it just felt too slow.
Bishop a2.
No,
now he has bishop d3, and he goes bishop e2, and the queen is trapped, no? So, yeah.
And if you go here, then you don't have the square for your queen.
So the queen can't come out, no?
I guess it needs to be the bishop. Well, that is sad for white. What if taking on c6, knight b4, right? Yeah, this bishop does a great job of controlling all these squares, taking them away from the queen. But now queen b5, and with the knight gone from f6, I could swing over to h5. Could I not? And if rook c8 or something, then I can take.
Wow.
Or can't I? Wait, rook c8 like this. Take. Here, or maybe bishop e4 also. Oof.
The lines become very complex.
And then
as well.
Double bishop sacrifice.
And we're moving the pieces on the board. This is mind-boggling for the players. It's tremendously complicated.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going on in this game. We're probably embarrassing ourselves compared to the engine lines, but that's as good as we can do. And it's, of course, much more difficult for the players on the board.
No, the human option is more clear. No? You exchange the bishop for the knight, and you're weak on the light squares, but you're hoping to hold some way.
I think the white player going into this line assumed that he's fine. After all, he's a pawn up, and nothing bad is going to happen in the next couple of moves to him. But
I'd be worried if I was white in this position.
I just think the long-term compensation of this very strong bishop and this backward pawn, the open lines.
He went back to g6, which is...
Well, black's piece are better.
Maybe slightly better, but basically the same idea. He went back to g6 instead of h7.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it has the drawback that sometimes the bishop can be hit, but at the same time the king can also...
You can't be mated on the back rank, which is also always very useful. Okay, so we'll leave this game. We think that Nigel Peart is probably even better, although he has a pawn down.
Nigel was playing in Denmark. Where is it? Denmark, right?
Yeah, in the
Extracon, which used to be the Politiken Cup. Who else is not playing in this championship?
Well,
Matthew Sadler I would have loved to see.
Sadler, Michael Adams, number one, and the funny thing is, John Nunn, who's another very good player,
but he's not playing that much.
He's playing in the 50 group, plus 50 group.
Which one?
In the same tournament. There's a.
Oh really?
Yeah, there's a plus 50 group, and you
why?
can choose. It's funny because he's 25-80. I thought maybe because he didn't want to play the main group because. It's more stressful with much better and younger players.
Right.
And he prefers to play with the top 50 group. Obviously, he's going to probably win it because the seed number 2 is, I think, 200 points less than him. So, he's playing the British champion, but the top 50 group.
Who else we got? Spearman, but he's...
Spearman hardly plays nowadays. I think he plays an occasional league game, but nothing more. And the other thing is there's the Irish Open is being played now as well.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of players who could play here are actually playing in Ireland.
But they have, two strong players participating. I think Baburin and Astani Lopez.
Astani Lopez playing. And then there's quite a few 2200s, but not very strong the tournament.
Right, so a couple of strong grandmasters missing, but still, I think we do have a lot of strong players in the field to promise us some exciting games. Speaking of which of the games is most exciting? What do you think?
Well, we could check on the M's game. They're in an ending. 2 bishops against bishop and knight.
That's exciting.
Always good to learn a bit about endings. So I think black could just play d4. How do you assess black's chances to get a draw here?
I think he just shouldn't have done that.
He should have stayed put here.
So you might think, let's get rid of this weak pawn, but you're just opening up the position, and now the king is free to enter black's camp, and white is much quicker, and also the bishops in this open position are such a force. Nah, I mean, unless you really have to go d4, you shouldn't do it. Just play passively if you need to. Just defend this pawn if necessary. f4 is quite a committal move. But you can't really go d4.
Well, black
in
went
my
d4.
humble opinion.
Jack Rudd, he's an international master, although rated 2250. And a4 take.
This knight is going to be dominated. It doesn't have an outpost, and the bishops, they will just
actually, I play king d4 straight away here. Why not?
Yeah.
And if knight
bishop
e6,
f4.
No, that's... the pawn on b3 is being hit. That's a slight problem.
Yeah, maybe a4 is not that clever. Maybe we just take and then start... Oh, no, don't start running yet.
That was the move you had to avoid, First bishop somewhere. And b6 looks to be a good square for the bishop, dominating the knight. And now get the king to e3, start with f4. Well,
we can just take it slow.
Black's in for a tough defense here.
Yeah.
Many moves defending.
But these are those classical textbook positions where the pair of bishops becomes really, really strong, and black is simply incapable of creating any defense lines that would stop white from penetrating his camp.
Yeah, the king will go to d3, c4, d5, and there's nearly no way.
Yeah.
So if instead of playing d4, he defends passively?
So probably the king is not going to enter black's camp that easily, but you just push your pawns a little bit and gain some more space, and then you create some weaknesses like this f6 pawn or maybe h7. I don't know. Just create some weaknesses and then infiltrate later on. Because black doesn't have any active counterplay. He's just going to move back and forth. Okay, he will try to exchange the bishop, I guess, if he can, but we won't allow that.
No, we can stop that playing f4 straight away.
Yeah. Well, just on general grounds, d4 opening up the position kind of, I feel, kind of simplifies white's task.
The funny thing here is that...
well, maybe it was necessary. I don't know. It doesn't look like it.
Black has used up about 20 minutes for the whole game, whereas Ems has used up more than an hour and a half. And he's just played e4. So he doesn't want to exchange pawns. He might think that he can end up capturing the pawn.
Way to refute everything that I said.
No, it could be possible. With king e2, maybe king d3.
If you can grab the pawn,
eventually
all
a4.
the better.
Why not, no?
Okay, so let's see.
So should black play now maybe bishop e6 or knight c3 straight away? Okay.
Probably this pawn just drops.
Yep, because loose pawns drop off. We know that.
Loose pawns? I thought it's pieces.
Pawns were.
Everything that's loose will
Everything
drop
that's loose will eventually drop off.
Well, this guy is gone. At some point, he's gonna be gone.
But bishop c4 would not allow you to cross. So you'd have to do something else.
Like this?
Yeah. Although I'm sure you have to find a solution there, but...
I'm gonna collect this pawn.
Something like that, yeah.
Then go a4.
Yeah, it looks to be okay for white. So e4 is probably a good option as well. And M's taking his time, but...
e4. Yeah, maybe that's even stronger.
Consolidating and...
So white is actually spoiled for choice already in this position.
Okay.
Yeah. The king it's not only the pair of bishops, it's the better pawn structure, and it's also the more active king, which, as we have learned, is quite the asset in endgames. Considering to some classical chess books, it's 4 pawns. An active king is worth 4 pawns, so more than a piece, but less than a rook.
Correct.
So if you want some rules of thumb, a pawn is worth 3 developing moves, according to Michael.
And 1 is not enough. 2 is the grey area.
Oh, that's
and 3 is the nice, and 4 is overwhelming.
And also, you need 3 pieces to mate the opponent's king on the
3 pieces
on the edge of the board,
as Tartago used to say.
Do we have
There's many more
of these?
We'll give them during the week.
Pieces of wisdom.
During the week, we'll give the rules of thumb. Okay, so let's cross over to some other games. The Rahal game has developed a bit, so we can go back to that one. That's the first board. And something has been exchanged on c6. I think the knight. So what happened here? Knight e5.
So
we
c5,
left it here.
knight e5.
19 minutes for bishop f5. Wow.
So he spent 15 minutes on 2 moves. c5 and bishop f5. Moves 5 and 6.
Ooh.
You think this guy would have been 2800 if he managed his time better?
You never know.
Or maybe
he
would be 2600.
Would Ivanchuk be the world champion if he wasn't so nervous?
He is in the rapid.
Yeah, that's true. You never know, no? Because it's the whole packing, no?
Yeah.
The good things and sometimes are there because of the other things. You never know, no? Maybe if he didn't think so deeply in the variations, he wouldn't have got to 2700. You never know. So bishop f5 and white played e3.
Yeah,
Attacking the
we
center.
have a hard time understanding what's going on. So b takes c5, queen c7, I guess.
Yeah.
This is not a threat. Or is it?
Well, it is. Well,
wait.
no, it isn't because of the mate, but...
So d3, okay, that... Let's see, this just to illustrate
And queen c8.
Countermate.
Checkmate.
Okay, but I guess d3... Wait, bishop takes d4 makes some sense, right? It's just winning.
Yeah, so queen c7, we can let that one go by. So what would black have to play here? Queen c8, maybe?
Maybe knight c6.
Knight c6. And now the critical move must be take there.
Yeah, now black
That's the sort of compensation he's looking for, no?
He's a pawn down, but he's not 3 developing moves up. So what do we say here?
But the pawn is doubled. There's a open file, so that's okay.
This is becoming complicated to account for all the factors. How do you weight them? It's like apples and
pears.
And pears.
That's true. Yeah, let's see if there's enough compensation, because the pawn on c5 will probably fall at some point. No?
Yeah.
For instance, how can you defend now?
Nah, it's gonna fall.
It's gonna fall, no. So black, okay, he played e3. White played e3.
So he's trying to go for the Blumenfeld in some way.
And now black played
c6.
rather quickly. Knight c6.
We're in for some big fun during time trouble. This is just
for both players, not
of course.
The other players also spending quite a lot of time.
Eight moves have been played, and can you see the clock situation? It's
37 against 31.
Yeah,
so.
But after 8 moves, and the position remains kind of complicated. Maybe it will be less so after a couple of moves when the area has cleared and the structure reveals itself, but still. We'll see. Okay, so this is the position. B takes c6, and I'm wondering if white has anything better than to take. Yeah, I guess he does. You don't really want to take and risk rook b8. Okay, how about transposing into a Benoni line, or Benoni structure at least? Yeah, that does look very pleasant for black. White is undeveloped, and you can't really fianchetto your bishop because the pawn is so weak, and e4 is looming also. So knight d2.
Knight d2. Maybe rook b8. Probably a3.
Maybe white has to play differently. He doesn't have to, he should not take, I guess. Maybe this or this. Still very complicated. But black can just sacrifice this pawn.
The c6 pawn.
I reckon, at least.
But why would he do that? I mean, is it necessary?
Why not? Oh, you want to go passive?
Well,
you can lose some.
Well, if you have a move that protects the pawn and develops a piece, it could be okay. I'm not sure which one, but
queen b6 runs into b takes c5.
I was thinking queen d7, and if b takes c5, then maybe e5.
But this is also pawn sacrifice, at least for the moment. And here I can take.
Tactics.
I guess, but I'm not sure.
You never know, no?
I'm never sure.
Both kings open, but the other rook is hanging as well. So this is very, very complex.
I'm just making random moves, if you don't mind. Enough with the randomness.
But this goes to show, no? The position is quite dangerous, and
I think we can agree that no one understands this position, not even the
maybe
players.
Not even then.
They're going to spend some time, and then we'll look later on in the middle game when the area is cleared. Hopefully, we'll have something more sensible to say.
Howell must understand.
He understands things
quite a bit because he's really.
He tends to understand some things.
So let's see where. What are the other?
I'll give you one more game before I'm going to claim a short break.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What do you think of the game between Adair and Dinnerly? That's board 6. We haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, let's check that one real quick.
Okay. We haven't even seen the opening. This one, if you want to go really fast, or it's a Sicilian Nachtdorf.
How do you say as a Spanish?
Nachtdorf, Neisdorf.
Okay.
English speakers say Najdorf.
Is this the way to pronounce Najdorf in Spanish? Does everyone do it?
No,
Najdorf?
Najdorf is also
Najdorf.
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 I like saying Najdorf.
Okay, why
I
not?
heard it somewhere and it sounded nice, so I use that normally.
He was not a Spaniard, though.
He was, he was Polish, but he lived most of his life in Argentina. So he immigrated there.
Oh, right.
Well, most of his life. I think he immigrated there when he was 30 or 35, but he lived until
Probably during the
85.
Second World War?
Yes.
As a Jew?
I think so, yes.
That's what they did back then.
I think so, yes.
Chess saved lives. They played this Olympiad and then everybody stayed there, right? In Argentina.
Maybe.
That story? I'm not a good chess historian, but a couple of strong grandmasters ended up being in Argentina.
Miguel Najdorf was his name. Miguel.
Ah, yeah.
And he went to live in
Miguel
Argentina.
is not how you...
Najdorf.
It's not what you call your kids in Poland, is it?
No. Okay, so with the h5 move.
Yeah, well, this looks more pleasant for white, definitely. I'm wondering how bad it really is for black. This bishop outside pawn chain does a good job covering a couple of squares. But of course, if black managed to
put the blockade in,
get the knight here without dropping this pawn and exchanging these bishops, but it looks very difficult in practice. And white is quite quick, actually, to open the position and create some problems. Yeah, this looks very comfortable for white.
Yeah, the plan with rook e1 and f4 looks strong. Very strong.
Also, this bishop stops black from any counterplay here on the queen side.
So, for instance, if black tried to play now knight e8, what would we do? Well, actually, it's white's turn now, no?
Ah, okay.
So let's say rook e1.
It's probably maybe f4
or f4
immediately.
straight away. Okay, now black would probably have to play pawn takes pawn.
So bishop d6.
Ooh.
Albeit this is opposite
Not
colored bishops.
Not to be recommended, no?
It's not drawish. The queen's on the board. This is just mate.
This is not to be recommended.
Okay, so takes.
Take to the rook probably.
Bishop d6 will just take.
Now we'll take on f6. Which reminds me, I wonder if Lawrence played rook takes h6 before.
I mean, rook f6 first.
Let's check that. Let's check that and then take a break. What do you think?
Okay. I agree. Because I really don't feel like I'm saying anything sensible at this point in time, so I'm hoping for the coffee to bring some relief.
He played rook f6.
Yes.
After quite a think. I'm going to tell you the amount of time he took to make that decision. He took exactly 31 minutes, my friend Lawrence Trent. 31 minutes to play rook f6. So
this is the position. For some reason, it doesn't update
31 minutes
back here in my system. But yeah, rook f6. So black is thinking right now.
Yeah, I think so. Or that must be our analysis before, no?
Yeah. But
so yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to delete all the moves that we played.
Black has been thinking 6 minutes already, so Lawrence has been quite a while thinking that move. But he finally did it, and he must have the idea of sacrificing in mind.
But he left himself with only 24 minutes. This is not enough to create a brilliant masterpiece that will go into the history books.
He won't have enough time afterwards to...
No, but why?
Come on, he'll get there. He'll do it.
No, he's a putzer.
He'll do it. Okay, so we're going to take a small break. We'll come back in a few minutes with the second part of the tournament, of the round, and hopefully with good action in some of the boards. And if not, we'll go and see the rest of the boards and pick up some games with attacks and counterattacks. And some endings as well, no, Ilja?
Yeah, we're looking forward to some crazy developments in these games. And there are a couple of really exciting
And see if Howell starts playing a bit faster. If not,
well, he has
there's going to be huge time trouble in that game.
All right. See you guys later.
Hey guys, so we're back after this small break here with Grandmaster Ilja Zaragatski. I hope I pronounced it well.
That was great.
Okay, so we're going to continue looking at the games of this second round of the British Championship. Quite an interesting round with several interesting positions. And where do you want to start, Ilja? So we start with...
Well, I actually already went to the first board. I don't think the viewers see it on the screen already. But the view will change right now. There it is.
Fantastic.
And finally, the position cleared up a little bit. It was very complicated, very messy. Both sides with a lot of options. And they ended up playing this position now. where white sacrificed a pawn on b4, and I'm not sure he will have any compensation for it. He might get it back. Maybe queen g3 is possible now with a double attack, but this just takes a lot of time, and white's queen side is undeveloped.
Why did he play bishop d3? That was a strange move. Maybe he didn't have any other sensible move, but it seems strange to me. Exchanging pawns and bishop d3.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have any other possibilities? Could he change pawns and then maybe d3 instead of bishop d3 and get his bishop out via e2?
I'm not sure I still like white's position. I believe he went wrong somewhere, just from the feel of it. Maybe queen a4, but he can't move the queen again, normally. Also, bishop e2, bishop f3 would be great if that worked, but I think it's just a little bit too slow. Well, yeah, black simply will consolidate in the center and then develop his pieces. And
so although Howell spent a lot of time, he's ended up with quite a reasonable position, and actually he's got more time than his opponent now. Pritchard is under 20 minutes, whereas Howell still has 25 minutes. So things are looking well for him in the position on the board.
Well, it makes sense to play in such a way. At least it's intuitive to speed up the development in such a way and exchange a developed piece of the opponent, and also attack d4. It just doesn't work that well.
Could he play a3 here? Was that possible? And not sacrifice the pawn?
Maybe that was his plan.
And maybe he saw something and changed his mind here. Because e4 would lose the pawn on d4. That doesn't seem to be dangerous.
Maybe c5.
Maybe c5. Aha, c5. But even this pawn takes pawn and castle might be better than...
Yeah, although this is quite...
Yeah, pawns are rolling down
sad
now.
Also.
Possibly he saw something like this and preferred not to go into this position.
Yeah, something went wrong. I'm not sure what could have been recommended instead. Maybe the position is just not that brilliant anymore. But I guess the engine will find something.
Yeah, of course.
They always find something. They're very resilient.
No, I thought
very
maybe
resourceful.
Exchange pawns and just d3 and e5, bishop e2.
Okay, let's check out the most natural way to play. Okay, I just go e5. Just so much better developed.
We actually looked at this before.
We looked at this, yeah. Rook b8 is in the air now. Quick e4 break might be possible. My development is better. So your rule was 3 moves for a pawn. I haven't sacrificed a pawn.
I mean, you still have 3 moves.
I'm like two moves ahead, so I'm like half a pawn.
Yeah, things are looking bad. Yeah. So it was two evils. No, you had to choose between 2 probably worse positions, and he opted to take the bishop out and just develop. No? And now he's played f4.
Maybe that's his idea. Still, I can't imagine this is enough. Okay.
Okay, so.
All right, yeah. Let's take a look at the current position and not dwell on memories.
Okay.
So, what are the options that black has at his disposal here? Maybe he'll just castle and
then just play knight d7.
Knight d7, because queen d4 fails to bishop c5.
Bishop c5. That's a good tactic.
And bishop takes. Maybe just knight takes e5.
Yeah, tactics
does feel a little bit shaky for white. Where does the queen even go?
I think e3 is the only square, but even e3 looks very, very dangerous. Knight g4.
So maybe e4. I take c4 if I don't see anything else.
Yeah, but even knight g6 here would be a decent move. No? And the white's position is very, very shaky here. Very shaky.
Okay, but maybe I could survive this. Maybe I could, maybe I could not.
Intuitively, it looks dangerous. Of course, then you have to calculate the variations, but
this doesn't look right.
You like to grab the pawn if there's nothing.
Well, I want to get something concrete for what seems like a superior position, but this doesn't make such. I have queen d5 next move. So. Okay, let's check this. Bishop c5 check. Then just d4 or d4 simply. I don't know. Maybe rook. No. No, this
may be okay, but is there really need to go into this? I mean, having a move such as knight g6, which is, sort of solid, and rook e8. Now, for instance, rook e8
makes sense.
You have to find
I don't have any squares.
a good square for the queen to protect the bishop, but G4 maybe, but
just H5.
Maybe H5. It
all Still very complicated.
Yeah. It all seems sort of hanging, no?
Oh, he played E4 apparently.
He played E4.
So this was the line of the short castles. There's more options. Even C5 could be an idea just to stabilize the center. Yeah, maybe that's actually a simple way to handle things. And as long as nothing bad is happening on the F file now, this is just a sorry bunch of minor pieces. Okay, maybe bishop A3, but even A5. I mean, it takes a lot of time. The central construction is very stable, and
that knight is blocked in.
The pawn is very weak.
So he played E4.
Except if something like rook
F7
that's
the danger, no? Rook F7 or queen F5 or something along those lines, or even E6 at some point.
But there's no pieces except for the queen.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So he played E4, and then the D4 pawn hangs, obviously.
Okay, he needs to take it.
And now he castles.
Okay.
So he's playing more positionally, no? Not opening the position for the pieces.
No, it makes sense. So I guess the most critical approach would be to exchange here, and then...
Then how to get your knight out?
Just move it.
Move it and give back the pawn, no? Yeah, okay. That's an option.
This looks bad. Not sure how bad that really is, but it looks bad. Maybe it's bearable.
Of course, you can play rook d3 instead of f5.
Yeah, f5.
If you want to get in,
was a automatic move, but probably not the best. Definitely not the best.
And then you can get f5. These rook endings look quite good. So, yeah. So the solution is interesting.
Because if you go here,
and there's a check and rook d3. Wow, this is domination. Yep. So Howell has found a good solution. Try and exchange queens and go for a decent ending. So seems reasonable.
Let me try.
Of course, white is not forced to exchange queens, but
okay, but he needs to develop.
He has to do something.
This construction here just doesn't work that well. What else could white try? He needs to exchange queens. His lack in development would be even more painful with the queens on the board.
Queens, maybe not exchange an f6, but what can he do then?
Black's play is quite straightforward and really easy.
Knight c3 would lose the pawn on d2. Rook f2 fails to bishop c5. So bishop c3, bishop c5, and maybe then knight g4.
Bishop c3 I just wanted to take.
Okay.
So
this is also very good.
I think at least we have to create double pawns
and try and find some way to save this position.
Hope for the best. Maybe pray a bit. Wesley So would pray here with black. So
what's so very interesting is f5 here instead of exchanging, and then rook d3.
Maybe no. Yeah, true.
That's another way of playing this. This is always domination.
Horrible.
It's not very good. So I like the way Howell has found a good solution. Instead of opening up the game, just playing solid and going for a better end game. Okay, so Howell on the track. Let's go back to Lawrence with the position after rook f6.
You should say as someone playing under the Spanish flag, maybe you should call him Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
That's more Italian.
I think he did spend 2 or 3 years in Spain.
Yeah, he studied in Malaga for a couple of years, and his English is pretty flawless.
Yeah, and his Spanish. I heard him speak Spanish.
I meant his Spanish. His English is quite okay. So.
Yeah, but the funny thing
almost as good as mine.
when I heard him speak Spanish for the first time, I think it was one of the broadcasts in Spanish on Chess 24. The funny thing was that he had an accent which was not entirely Andalusian. It was more Cuban, from my point of view.
He spends a lot of time in Cuba.
Oh, well, that would explain it then, because I thought he speaks very well Spanish for someone who. Then I found out he'd been living in Spain a few years. So
yeah, he studied something at the university. And actually, we played the Habana Memorial once together in Cuba, and he played it a couple more times actually. And
so, did you enjoy experiencing Cuba? Was it a nice tournament?
Yes, very nice. I did enjoy it. It was in 2014, I believe, or 13. No, 14. 2014.
Were you already grandmaster then, or did you go there to get your norms?
I was a grandmaster.
You were a grandmaster then?
Yeah, I was a grandmaster, and well, it wasn't the same as it is now. Cuba, I believe the U.S. embargo, was not quite lifted, so like you went to the store, and they had only limited array of things. So.
But everyone who's gone to Cuba to play chess, in general at least, everyone seems to have had a good time and enjoyed a lot of the trip. So
Well, basically, it's just free holidays for everyone who's a grandmaster.
There's lots of chess tradition there as well.
Yeah,
so.
They invite you, they pay everything, and then you get to play some chess and
Always
travel
good.
around a bit. There's a free day. You go to the beach on the free day, and other than that, you just experience Havana a bit and the nightlife and the culture and the food. It's quite nice.
Okay.
And the culture is actually such that everybody knows some chess players, and because of Capablanca, obviously, there's a rich history, and everybody knows the top Cuban grandmasters like Dominguez.
He's well known there.
Oh, he's a pop star there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go and see how Trent has played his attack, because we checked in the break on this position and it wasn't entirely clear. No, there was some defensive chance for Black. So what did Story do against Lawrence's rook f6? He captured on e4 and tried to block on f5, you know?
Yeah, so it turns out we were a little bit overly zealous with White's attacking chances, while the computer is just really sober and relaxed and cool. And
very, very solid.
We actually missed
That's why
a
I turn it off,
resource.
so I can play more creatively.
So, it's always disillusioning to check the computer's lines. So we simply missed this idea of taking on e4 in between, which looks a bit counterintuitive to invite White's pieces into the attack, but there's a concrete idea, which is to vacate this f5 square for the knight. So either White recaptures now on e4 with one of these minor pieces, or he takes on h6. And Lawrence decided to take on e4. So at least now we understand why it took him half an hour to decide for the move rook f6. And, well, I believe the computer is quite happy here for Black. He doesn't see any problem. And now that we have this extra info, we tend to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some ideas with knight d5 maybe, but it's all not enough. There's not enough pieces in the attack, and now this rook is actually a little bit embarrassed here on f5. There's no way back, and it's not hitting the knight anymore.
So the idea of playing rook f6 wasn't entirely incorrect, but maybe he had to exchange pawns on d5 first before pursuing the attack.
Is that what the engine says?
It did say pawn takes pawn at some point before.
Okay.
So,
or maybe
but
e5.
it makes sense. Or maybe e5.
e5. That's from a human perspective. That does make a lot more sense to control some dark squares and not to open up, I don't know, this diagonal, or maybe give this knight this square. But
it's quite simple to miss the idea of d takes e4, knight f5. So, well, at least Lawrence missed it. And
I don't think he missed it. Well, we missed it, and there's no excuse for us.
Do you think he didn't miss it?
I don't think so. It took him half an hour to play rook f6. I think he didn't miss it, but he still considered this to be the best continuation.
I think if I'd seen... maybe he was going to this.
He wanted to make this work, but it just didn't. Why doesn't this work, by the way?
It looks like f5 could be...
f5, knight f6.
And rook takes, and...
Because if you go here, I just take here.
No, but I take on f6 and then play d takes e2.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Although I see queen d6... No, this is not working, because queen d6, I can take the rook, or take on e3 with check, or a thousand things. Maybe of course, we're moving the pieces on the board. That's what we have to remember now. And it's never easy when you're calculating tactics, no? But in any case, the position is still unclear. Even now, although the computer may say it's slightly a bit for Black, in practice, any position with so much development and threats, Black has to be careful, because one step in the bad direction and you're lost. So,
yeah, one thing that these evaluations don't tell you is how bad is it if you make a mistake, if you don't follow the main recommendations of the engine. So there might be positions where the engine says it's all equal, but if you go astray somewhere along the path, then you're just...
That's something I like to tell, especially the parents of the kids, where they're following the games of their kids, to always look, if they're going to use the engine, which I normally don't suggest, at least make them see 3 or 4 lines and understand the evaluations, that if there's several moves with a similar evaluation, there's nothing's happening. But if there's one move with a good evaluation, but the rest are very bad evaluations, the game is very complicated and things can change very, very quickly.
Well, if you're black here in this position and you miss some attacking resource of whites, then you're just going to lose.
You're just going to lose. That's the problem. But the position has changed a bit. And after bishop takes f5, d takes s5, he played rook d6, I think. So, yeah, rook d1. He sacrificed the b2 pawn.
Wait, what happened? He
captured on f5 after knight f5.
Oh, yeah, okay. Took, rook
and
d1.
Then rook d1. Queen takes b2. Rook fd6. He's trying to get something in on d8, it seems here. And black played knight a6 here. But there's more moves, because after knight a6...
I don't see any attack anymore.
Well, Lawrence played queen e5. What do you think? Can he strum up some type of pressure here? Maybe trap the queen?
Maybe his idea is something like this.
Nice. But
not nice enough.
Still defending, no? Still defending.
Yeah.
There's not even a draw here.
Nope.
So let's go back a bit and see if we can get that e2 knight into the attack somehow.
This doesn't seem to be enough. How many pawns has black grabbed? 2, and all of these pawns are gonna be doomed.
There is one idea though.
Later
if you play queen e5, bishop e6, maybe we can go for the queen somehow, because it's sort of semi-trapped there on b2. Is there any chance of doing that?
Semi-trapped.
No, after queen e5.
Okay.
Bishop e6.
Yeah, you're actually right.
Can he go... because rook b1, queen takes c2. Against queen a3, the queen can't go anywhere else. Well, it can. It can go to c5. No, we're not trapping anything there.
If queen takes c2 happens, then rook d2 would actually trap the queen.
But how do we attack it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
How do we attack it?
What about if we just try to enter on b7?
Okay, let's go for that variation. Now, queen takes c2... Rook takes b7.
Actually, these knights, they do a good job of not allowing any counterplay and defending each other.
Now there's a threat. Rook takes e6. So that's a dangerous threat.
No, this is not what black wants. Maybe
there are chances here. Yeah. Well, maybe theoretically black is holding, but he has to find very precise defense moves.
Okay, but he's not forced to go bishop e6. Are there any big threats at the moment?
He's just played queen b4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Bring the queen
back. No, change the queens. Okay, so what's the next attacking move for black, for white? What can he do to create at least some sort of threat? Rook
Maybe
d4?
just nothing. Rook d4 just
queen
invites
c5,
queen
no?
c5.
Okay, Lawrence, what are you going to do here? How can we continue the attack?
What's the time situation? Yeah, 8 minutes on the clock.
You mentioned that before. Remember when he had 24 minutes, you said if he is not able to find some good attacking moves, then he'll be in time trouble to find the attack. What happens here if he plays rook d8? Then just bishop e6, no?
Now the queen is even defending this rook. I'm not even sure if that threatens
that
anything.
Queen b4 move is quite precise. And another thing, it's not only the 2 pawns, it's because he has a very bad structure for the endgames.
Yeah.
So even if he gets a pawn back, he's going to have a very, very bad endgames. The knight on c5 will be very strong. Things are not looking good for white here. Sorry to say.
I totally agree. So
things are not looking
bad
good.
News for all Lawrence Trent fans. This doesn't look too great, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually not only not won, but even lost this game. But
might be in trouble. But
anything can happen.
There's still a lot of pieces on the board, and anything can happen. Okay, so let's check. Let's see Ginger, Simon Williams. Let's check his game. How is he going?
Oh, let me look him up. It's a rook end game.
Okay.
Okay, let's just take a look at this end game right now.
2 rooks, 4 pawns against 5.
Okay, Okay, so last move was rook to e5, threatening to take on d5. It's a nice blockade white has here, so he might have some compensation for the pawn, but I do assume that black should win this position somehow. Okay, maybe not like this. What is happening here again?
Yeah, this looks good. At
you
the
sure?
end, I think so, yeah. But you could even play rook takes and then rook c2 first.
Oh, yeah. But then
and then you win the endgame. You have two. Well,
king d3. Okay, let's check again.
That's nice. That's a nice variation.
Okay, so we go here.
If white takes on c4.
Yeah, white can give a check
course,
first.
But let's consider this variation just in case. So we change rooks, then we check, king d3, and now, let's see, how should we do this? How should we do this? Because I get the 2 pawns to the 6th file, what's going to happen there? And I get I get h5, and that's winning. That's winning. No, with h5. No, but I think black has to play h5. No.
But I just go h3.
But then h4. No. No, hold on.
But then I go
king e4. And then,
I'll just
I play king e4 and then h4. That's it. No, h5 first, h3, and then king e4.
Well, what are you trying to achieve? You can't do anything here if I just go back and forth.
No, but if I can play king e4. Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, you're right.
I understand. You want to.
Well, if I get to
have
g4,
this and then
yeah, if I get to g4.
But even that should be a draw if I just go g4.
You're right. You're right, Ilja.
We'll have to.
You're faster than me. You're going to try and queen then. Okay, but f5 is
F5,
possible, yes?
Yeah, we just have to go back. That's useless.
What if you play h5, h3, and then you play king c4? Is that any difference? And now try to queen. It's just the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this looks like a drawn pawn endgame to me. Okay. Well, probably black simply wants to go back, put the other rook to the second rook to onto the c file and then go c3. Or is he afraid of any additional counterplay? Those rook endgames, they're so tricky.
Double rook endgames are always very tricky. Very, very tricky.
However, I can hide on b8, right? So I just go c3.
Okay, check.
c3 was not the
not the most
clever.
Precise. Not the most precise at this point.
Because white can simply take on c3.
But if you're thinking of playing rook a5 to defend the pawn, maybe rook c5 is better.
Oh, yeah.
But then rook e1, of course, threatens rook e6. So it's very tricky, this position. It's quite unclear. Actually, Simon has been thinking 11 minutes for this move now because it's a sort of critical situation, no? To go into rook takes b2 or to protect the pawn with rook c5 or rook a5.
That's a critical moment again. Can we go c3 maybe? Some idea like this. But of course, well, first of all, there's rook takes c3. Yep. Oh, no. And also, of course, there's this intermediate check.
And also, as we know, all rook endgames are draws.
Yeah, but that's just rook endgames. It's not double rook.
The double rook isn't different. Okay, so
half of double rook endgames are draws, right? The ones where you exchange the second pair of rooks.
Exactly.
Okay. Another rule of thumb presented to you by Michael.
Okay, yeah, so
it might be not enough, actually. Maybe we can understand the game better if we look what's happened. Who was pressing, actually?
We were looking at this before.
And it looked interesting.
He captured on g7 in the end.
We expected queen takes e6, but he decided to go with
pawn
takes and play this position. Oh, and they went
straight away for the endgame. Okay.
What was wrong with queen h6? Oh, maybe not much, but maybe it was not too dangerous for black either. I mean, here black has a really good pawn structure, and these pawns are quite dangerous. So, okay, also the bishop is hanging. So despite the fact that the bishop tends to be a superior piece in these kinds of positions, these kinds of endgames, black has more than enough trumps of his own. So he decided to exchange, and well, I think the rook endgame is better for black. There There can't be any doubt about that, because these are two potential passed pawns. But white managed to create some counterplay. Maybe c4 was too early. It's always easy to say that in hindsight. Or b4. Why not start c4? Okay, I don't know.
Well, he wanted to push the pawns to get the rook to a5, but he had other options he could play. But maybe...
You know what? He could have just
a5.
pushed his pawns, because white cannot make any progress, really.
Maybe he was worried because white was maybe threatening f5, but I'm not sure if that's such a threat, really.
White can try to make some progress. Yeah, it's tricky. It's not a trivial endgame to evaluate at all. But if anyone has chances to win, it should be black. Okay, let's see what happened.
And here's the position we're getting to now. Yep.
Okay,
E5.
That's still the position on the board, right?
Simon's still thinking of this position, so let's try something else and come back here a bit later. So, I'm going to try and see if any of the other games are of interest. Okay, so these games are going very slow. We can check on if you want Mcshane.
Marcus Harvey is saying that the pawn endgame is apparently winning.
Oh yeah.
Let's pursue this notion. How did it go, this pawn endgame? How did we came to it?
King e6.
Just checked rook takes c4, which probably is not the best move. f5 looks more critical to me, but okay, just to understand what's going on in the position, because this is going to be a typical endgame.
Winning for black or for white?
Oh, can't be winning for white.
For black, I understand.
For black, but how? Maybe just like this.
Yeah, well, he was referring to the pawn endgame.
No? Oh, the pawn endgame.
It must be with king takes d5.
How's this supposed to be?
Maybe it's difficult to see, no?
Okay, just a5 maybe, but then king b3. Then what? King c5? No. How can this be winning?
Well, the only idea I can see is king e4 and then h5, h4, h3. And then try and get, but that's not going to work.
What?
No, I don't think it's going to work, but that's the only idea I can see.
And h3.
But I don't think that's going to work, because when the king goes to f3, you play f5, and maybe you'll queen at least one tempo before me. So I don't think this is possible.
Just out of curiosity, who's faster and why? Yeah.
No, it's 'cause I'm going to lose.
Not going to win.
I can't do this, obviously.
Yeah, this is losing, actually, yeah.
So, okay. We're unclear to why this is winning for black.
If Marcus is talking about this endgame, then I'm really puzzled how this is supposed to be winning for black.
Okay, I've got an idea, of course. Now I understand it.
Oh.
A5 first.
Okay, I go king b3.
And then go h5 or whatever.
Okay.
And now king c4.
Oh, king c4, of course.
And if you go back, then I go king c4 and a4. And that I might get there one time.
Okay, I'll go h3 then here.
Now to play king c5, I think is the...
I go g4.
Because I shouldn't have touched the h5 point. Just play king c5 straight away.
Then I go g4.
Then you go g4.
Or f5. I go f5.
f5. And now... Aha. What happens if I play a4?
Let's see.
No, but could I have done this better at some point? For instance...
Enlighten us, Mr. Marcos. How's this?
Of course, it's tricky, but maybe the computer just gives a winning line and that's it, no? But...
King e4, h5, and force g4. How do you force g4? Okay, so it says king e4 and h4. Okay, so here is where we start our analysis. It's black's turn. So you go king e4, let's say.
Okay.
I go king b3, a5. We can insert these moves.
Now he can't play g4, but now king a4. Yeah.
Okay, so h5.
King b3.
Now h4. King. We don't go h3 if the king is
Oh
close
yeah, king
enough.
d4 now. Okay, because he can't play g4 now. But he'll go h3. And if you go king a4, then I go king c3 or something like that.
Right, so if the king goes any of these squares,
Then
then
A4.
a4.
But it's super tricky, this ending. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it might be winning.
Here,
King
I guess we
c3.
go here. With queen first, and then we
And
mate on
mate
b4.
not on b4, but we'll do something.
We'll exchange the queens on b4.
Yeah, that's the idea. Very good. Nice.
And the second pawn race will
Wow,
win for
so
sure.
it's very tricky, but yeah, it looks like it could be winning. But wow,
Okay.
super tricky. this
and
ending.
then, well, f5 will just
Go
collect
back.
this pawn, and
So we have to go
h3,
h3.
then we
Now,
then we go king
now
e4.
king e4, and against g4 takes. That's the
This,
idea. And now h4.
this.
Yeah.
this.
And now
Now how do we win?
let's see. We can get to d4 without doing anything, and then we go.
You mean another Zugzwang?
We triangulate, getting to d4 and Zugzwang, and then king d5, king b3, king d4, and this is possibly Zugzwang. Wow, super tricky, no?
Nice,
But we
yeah.
got there.
We got
without
there.
a computer.
We're kind of proud of ourselves with the help of
Thanks. His
our
name
friend
is
Marcus.
Marcus.
We should give him.
Well played.
Send him
Well
some
played.
cookies or something.
Well played. We'll send you a
Alright.
T-shirt.
Okay, now
Well played.
let's eliminate all the holes that this variation had before we went into the pawn end game. So first of all, rook d2 is there, rook e3, and now all rooks are hanging in a funny way. Well, maybe simply this endgame is winning for white, or at least for black, or at least has very good winning chances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this looks quite good.
Well, yeah. So
Or does it?
this would actually this has gone rook takes c4, but the rook's on e5. So I think he
okay.
played rook e5 check intermediate move.
Yeah, there's no reason for white to risk all of this
Yeah.
shenanigans. So
King f6, and now rook takes
now he
e4.
takes-
So this is the position of the current
Just
position.
to check real quick, f5, king f6 will probably not be an improvement. Okay.
And now he took on c4.
Now he took.
Now black's considering his options here.
So he could transpose to a single rook endgame, of which all are drawn, maybe except for this one.
Rook takes c4. King takes d2. Maybe black is better, but is it enough to win?
But maybe not. Yeah, because these pawns, they're not so connected anymore. So
Can't-
it's really difficult to push them forward.
Difficult to progress here.
And what's the current position?
Here.
Rook takes c4. Okay, what else we got? Maybe rook d8 check. Or rook d8 maybe. Yeah, I don't believe that it's winning. It should be closer to a
Be a
draw.
draw, no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
so
all of white's forces are active, and while black's king is
although Richard
just-
then went into the ending slightly worse, he's played quite well this double rook ending. So he might be able to get out to draw with against what is his rating? 22 to 37. Quite impressive.
Let's refrain from premature conclusions, though, as
Of
we
course.
did yesterday.
Of course.
Where
But I like the way he's playing the double rook ending very actively. Okay.
So we haven't checked Luke McShane's game in a while. Let's do that.
Yeah, and there's been some changes there. So he did play knight a5, which is the move you suggested, Ilja. Although it took us quite a while to
An hour ago.
to get to that conclusion. We were trying all types of different things here, and finally you suggested knight a5. That's the move he played.
D4. Although I'm not sure if I want to have the pawn on D4. Actually, I want to have it on D3 rather, to control the C4 square and to have a bit of a more solid pawn structure. Also, this square is sometimes useful for the knight. But okay, it looks like a natural move to attack the rook. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like rook c1 more. But who am I to judge? d4, rook c4, rook c1, and now rook c8. That's that's not a move you like to play, rook c8, right? It looks a little bit passive, but maybe he just wants to push the pawn and then just win with the passed pawn at some point.
Take, and now he goes for the attack on the 8 pawn. Okay, 8 would be 4c5, pawn takes, knight
g5. Oof.
Opening the attack on the rook. But of course, if he doesn't do that, he's going to lose the a pawn, no?
Yeah, but now I guess this pawn is just queening, isn't it?
Yeah, pawn takes, bishop takes, and now it's black's turn.
How about knight d2 here? Isn't this study material? So,
but he took the rook without exchanging the bishop.
Maybe that's the reason why he did.
Because knight d2, no? And
so
there's always get back.
b3. I just go somewhere here and then start pushing my pawn.
You can sack and the knight can't get back, no?
Yeah.
But you play knight d2 first.
Yeah,
and you block off the square.
You dominate everything.
Nice.
And then you're just queening, and also this square in d5 is
very nice.
Protected.
So he took without exchanging.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's happening now?
So if I go knight d2 here, I guess there's some knight e4 stuff. No,
although
but this is just winning.
Bishop f5 now, but careful.
Bishop f5, bishop d5, but I start like this.
b3 first, a5.
Oh, but then we have e4.
Ah. Tricky.
Oh, wait, but we can go like this.
Okay.
But here's another
my pawn's on the
Well, it's just so complicated.
And by the way, you won't be able to get the bishop back to e4 then. I just keep pushing. Yeah. I just give you the bishop.
Not in time.
Wow.
Okay, but
we'll find a win.
Black didn't have to do that. Yeah,
let's think a bit, and we'll find a win
as well. And
let's think a bit here.
Even more probably, Luke will.
We'll find a win here.
Okay, so let's check this one again, just to make sure that we're not missing anything. This really isn't so great for black, is it? No, it's not. It's not great. This everything is forced, and now it's white who wins. Yeah. Okay.
But there's no reason to play.
There's no reason to lose if you don't have to.
To play knight d2, you can leave the knight a while more on. Even in this variation, you can leave the knight on c4 a while more.
In which
to control the a5 pawn and just bring your king over, no?
So yeah, for instance, but that's not
b3
winnable.
take bishop e4 king f6.
Okay, I just go somewhere and bring my king. How are you going to make progress?
Well, it won't be easy, but I think I can get the king over to. I think there should still be some chance of winning this.
But let's try to see if we can find any cleaner way.
A clean win. We need a clean win here. Let's see.
What about bishop f5, then bishop d5, b3? No, b3 doesn't work. Bishop f5, bishop d5.
Correct.
No, but knight d2. And now these pieces kind of dominate. But this pawn can always start running.
b3, a6, b2, bishop a2. And I think that the pawn... Bishop a2. And I can't get my bishop to e4. But this is always very tricky. You mate me.
Yeah, but of course you don't have to take.
I have to take,
so
no.
you go back, and now I was wondering if I had some tricky move.
Wow, nice. That would be nice. But you saw the mate on f1. That was a nice trick, yeah. So still not having a clue what's going on. You might be winning, but that's not so easy.
Getting closer to the truth.
Also, white Horton is under 4 minutes, so
yeah, that doesn't help.
He'll have to find tough defenses with very little time.
And Luke has 15 minutes, which is just enough.
But this is an important position because he's been thinking 5 minutes already. He's trying to find the cleanest win here.
I like this comment of Digga Di Castori in the embeds chat. No, Lawrence, that's not how it works.
That's not how chess works. Let's go back to Lawrence because I read before that the queens have been exchanged.
Which is a citation of Peter Swidler, who then went on to lose the game that they were playing while he said that. But the statement still stands.
Still stands, no?
Yeah.
So, poor Lawrence.
You really want to go to Lawrence's game? I'm really enjoying this position and at least trying to.
Okay, let's find a force win then.
Okay, so a5 apparently really is losing because, well, this a6 line, miraculously wins for white, for black.
It seems so.
Wait,
that
a7.
was very nice. A7, but we said you take and then mate again on f1, no?
Yes, of course.
So you're winning there.
Yeah. So if white takes immediately, then he's just not in time.
But bishop c8 and b7, yeah.
Yeah, so this is winning as well. So a5 doesn't work. What else do we have?
What to do then? E4.
E4 or something.
E4 looks okay.
I guess we just go to d7.
D7 and b5 and then just push the pawn, no? That could be good. I mean,
or just push the pawn.
Okay.
Immediately, because the bishop will be in time to get to c6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I think you found the solution.
Just winning.
I think you found the solution. Just push the b3 pawn and put the bishop on f5. That looks quite good.
I don't see many other moves. What about knight f3 here?
Okay.
All right, now we take with the knight.
Okay.
If bishop takes, then we push.
Pawn
and
takes.
If pawn takes,
now bishop c2,
we go here.
bishop b6.
And here he doesn't have this resource with e4 anymore.
Okay.
So he goes a5, we go bishop f5. And we queen first, and we can win with the check.
But I think bishop c2 is winning as well, even faster. I'm quite sure.
Okay, show me later on. But what is this? No,
this is also winning, right?
We're in time, just in time.
By one move. Yeah, that's okay.
It's all by one move.
Yeah. That's enough.
So knight f3 doesn't work.
After the chains, bishop c2 and b3.
Ah, okay, yeah, of course.
That was probably winning as well.
Although this takes you a move long.
No, but you check. Ah, okay, yeah.
Here.
Okay. Oh, so it wasn't so easy. Yes, but this is not what we want.
No.
Maybe still winning, but yeah, your solution is a good one, Ilja.
This.
Bishop e6.
He can't take because we always queen one move
check.
earlier with a check. So here goes here. We go
b3.
here. I guess he has to push, right? Because or g4 or something like this.
g4 to play bishop b1 and not allow.
f5? Just f5 maybe.
Wow.
Let's operate under the assumption that g4 is not the critical move. This. Yeah, it's winning. This.
No, g4 is the only move.
Yeah, okay.
Actually.
Oh, but then it's just losing.
Must be losing by other means.
Probably the engine is already saying something like +4 and we don't have a clue.
Yeah, but Luke has been spending already 8 minutes. So
he wants to make sure, of course. He wants to make sure he's not missing anything.
He's calculating these variations and he's finding the most queens.
There's a lot of resources still. So, of course, he wants to use his time sensibly to really seize it and to win without any hiccups. Okay. I'm quite excited how this is going to continue, but we have some time, I believe, to check some of the other games. Do we have any finished results already on the first 10 boards? John M's won.
John M's won against Jack Rudd with the pair of bishops. You remember before?
Yes.
We can check how that ended if you want.
We can. If there's nothing more exciting going on.
I'm looking now. I'm looking at the... Well, it seems that the queens are still on the board.
Let's look at Lawrence's game.
And Gormley won as well. We hadn't seen that game, and it looks quite exciting with the pawn on h2.
So Lawrence is just one
By
pawn
the way,
down
Simon
now.
Williams accepted a draw after rook takes c4.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
It was a
makes
draw
sense.
that makes sense, yeah. And this game looks quite exciting. Chris Ward against Graham with queens with opposite side castle kings. If you can pick that one up, we could go
Let's
over
go there
the
in a second.
phases.
Let's first try to understand what's going on here. It looks like black has
3, 4,
stabilized.
5, 6. He's lost one of the pawns, but
these are not exactly the pride of White's position. White does have some pressure. He does have active pieces, and of course, yeah, even that would work because rook d7 can be made by queen takes g3. Rook takes e6, also good, I guess. That's the position, right? Knight c5 was the last move.
But I mean, bishop f7's been played now.
Oh, it's even black's turn?
I don't think he has enough compensation here for. Well, the queen's on e1 for some reason.
Okay, I guess it went there.
Queen e1, bishop f7.
Yeah, I mean, this is just...
This is a lost position.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll play b6 and start exchanging rooks.
What's the time situation? Yeah, this is just lost, of course. Now the rook's view has been opened up to e3 as well. This knight is just really annoying.
How did he lose the piece? Maybe he sacrificed it before?
Piece? Oh, he's a piece down. I haven't even noticed.
Oh, well,
no, then he's just trying to.
You said he had a bit of compensation, but I thought you, I thought you didn't see he was a piece down because he would have had a bit of compensation with the extra piece. He sacrificed the piece. Let's see how he did it. Maybe there was a.
Yeah, he
just to avoid going into an end game, he gave the piece. And how did this go? Knight takes h5. Okay, mate in threatening g7, f6, queen g3.
I guess he must have missed queen e7, queen c7. Wait, no, yeah.
Because if not, it's a draw. I mean, he forced a draw with queen e8 after rook f7. Yeah, maybe he missed this. Yes.
Or maybe this also works.
Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry, obviously, yes. So maybe he missed that then, the queen c7, or maybe he thought queen g3 was enough because after queen g3, how does the opponent defend? Queen c7, and no more attack. So
yeah.
Of course, knight takes f6, rook takes, queen takes g3. That is another possibility he might have missed. Maybe he didn't see that this queen be exchanged. In any case, a bit desperation sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is just, of course,
and
totally losing.
And in principle, he's losing. So let's leave this game.
Poor Lawrence. It's going to be hard to score a GM norm like that. Okay. So you wanted to...
There's a couple of interesting games. One of them is a war against that's finished, and one that's still being played is Merriman against Hanley. That's quite interesting. With both of the kings are in trouble here, so that could be an interesting one to check out.
I don't have that one in my list yet, but
okay. Well,
yeah, let's check the John M's game, which has finished so quick.
Okay, the ending. So he decided to play e4 and go for the pawn, and it seemed to work out well then.
Yeah.
So bishop e6, king e2, king d3, and he rounded up the pawn.
Basically just plays itself.
He rounded up the pawn and won the pawn. It's okay. Well played, good technique.
That's why he's a grandmaster.
That's why he's a grandmaster. So king c4, he repeated here, and then finally, he can't take the pawn because of the e4 pawn, but he rounded it up, and in the end, created his pawn. So,
yeah,
well played. Also, an author of many very good books. I have quite a few at home. John M's. He's done many good opening books and inspired me a lot. So I'm glad to see he's playing at a good level and winning nice end games.
What else have we got here? Approaching time travel quite soon, right? So
yeah,
where can we expect some action? What about? Well, let's start from the beginning again.
Well, the Howell game must be very close to time travel.
Yeah, definitely. So white is a pawn down here, but he has a powerful bishop on e5. And the knight on h5, of course, is not a happy piece, but black for sure will try to remaneuver it, to reroute it to e4.
Okay, so they're on move 15, no? Is that correct?
26.
26? Let me go down. Sorry, 26. Okay.
Knight of 6, yeah.
The time situation now is white 2 minutes and black 6 minutes and a half. So, and the time control is 40 moves. So we're 14 moves for about 2 minutes against 6. So, and a tricky position. So...
Yeah, although it's not that tricky anymore, I'm just going to plant my knight to e4, make it a really proud piece, and then control the position and push my pawn at
Looking
the right
good for black
junction.
then.
Yeah.
Looking very good for black.
And of course, if white has to exchange here, then that's just...
But how to prevent the knight coming to e4? That's also very dangerous.
No, I think it's just lost.
It's just lost, no?
I think. I mean, of course, white would dream of getting some counterplay, but it's just not going to happen. He's not in time.
We can't even sacrifice. We can't do anything. He probably has to exchange on f6 and try and do something. But what can he do? Actually, he has just exchanged on f6 because the knight on e4 would be crushing. And now
rook takes,
possibly rook e1 or...
And even the king is weak now. Yep. We can penetrate on the second rank. Yeah, I guess rook e1.
Rook e1 and then
rook e6.
Change the rooks.
But this pawn is just so strong.
Of course, if we change rooks now, then he captures our c4 pawn, which is another disaster.
Yeah.
This is close to losing.
It's over. I think it is losing. Yeah. All right. So...
Okay, one last chance there, but...
What? Which one?
Maybe rook c1. Will you go for queen e2?
I might.
It's probably winning, but I thought maybe I can hold somehow. Rook d4. Like pressing, no? Or even a move such as h6 first, or even h5 maybe.
Yeah, I can do basically
anything. You can do nearly everything. You've got a good grip on the position. Queen e4 is also very good, yes.
Yeah, that's not survivable.
So, with high probability, Howell will win, and not in 100 moves, but faster.
He'll be happy about that. Also with
very
black
happy.
And against a somewhat stronger
Let's
opponent.
check out on the second board where Jones is playing against Lawson. And this is an ending with an extra pawn, and bishop against knight.
Yeah, white is probably going to win that. So
of course, the key is the pawn. The pawn can't be captured because of rook a4.
But it's going to need to be captured at some point. Okay, let's... Oh, wait, of course.
So
this
if you can't capture it, king e6.
Okay, maybe just to check here and... This must be... Oh, e5, no? King d5 is always possible. Oh.
We can prepare it a bit because black is essentially in Zugzwang. I mean, he can't do hardly anything on the queen side. Maybe we can prepare this a bit. You saw a nice line there. Okay, finish it off. Then rook g6. Now a6 would be unbelievably nice, no?
Rook g6? Why not just take...
Oh, I'm sorry. I was attracted to the idea of a6.
Do you not like
that is
triple
even
pawn
better.
so much?
That is even better. That is even better. Well played. Yeah, this looks bad.
No, but I think it's just a crushing advantage. Even a plan like rook a4, king d3, c4.
That's another way of playing it.
Okay, the knight will come to d6, I guess, but then e5 will kick it away. Now,
well, I was thinking of putting the pawn on e5 and then bringing the king over. So.
Oh yeah, that's also possible.
So looking very good for
the
Jones
top players
on the second board, and now on the third board, Mcshane. We checked in before.
Yes,
he played bishop e6. No, I'm sorry. He changed.
I'm sorry too. Why did
he played a different move? He played
knight d6.
He played knight d6.
We were advocating bishop f5.
He wanted to prevent the bishop to come to e4.
No, it makes sense, but
white played knight e4.
Okay,
which is similar to the other variation, knight d2, and now he's played b3. Okay, so if you exchange knights, the pawn will get there very fast.
Well, we can just show it on the board.
With bishop f5 straight away.
Yeah. So the threat is now b2, bishop e4, bishop f5, and if white starts with bishop e4, then bishop f5 leads to the same outcome.
Yeah.
Because here, black's bishop is more than in time to stop this pawn.
Okay.
And of course, this endgame is easily won.
So he can't exchange knights. So what can he do?
Knight c3.
Knight c3 has been played.
Okay, so I guess b2 makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
a5.
a5 in principle.
No, we can play something like this even.
Can he play bishop a2 instead of knight b5?
Perhaps.
Maybe. Ah, wow. Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Even this and queen. And then collect this guy.
Exactly. Nice. Yeah. So knight d6 was a...
Okay, maybe it's easier. It's not as
the variation you said was winning, but this seems quite convincing as well.
He spent 11 minutes, and I think it was a good investment. Because now it's just over, yeah.
Very good.
So we expect this game to end soon.
Okay, so the first three boards, the favourites are winning. Let's go to see Hawkins against Dietmar Kolbus, the German player who's playing from London. How's he doing?
The German player who's British.
Ah, who's actually...
Well, I don't know. No, he's not, but he's
living in London.
Part.
Exactly. So how's he doing with black? Is he holding his own, or is he in trouble here?
It looks equalish. Of course, black has this annoying idea on the long diagonal, but he has some problems on the light squares. So, if this is correct, what we are reading here, Queen A6 took black 31 minutes.
Wow.
And then Bishop B2, 33 minutes for white.
Well, the clocks are not working on this game, so...
Or maybe this is just the increment the players have gotten after move 40. I guess that's more to it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's possible, yeah.
Either way, how should this position be evaluated?
Well, he's just played, if you want to see the actual position, Queen C4, A6. I was thinking if I could sacrifice the pawn playing Queen C3, but it doesn't work, does it?
Okay, we can take first, maybe.
You can take first, yeah. And then Queen C3, but because there's just one check on King F2, but...
Well, it's not just one check, it's two checks.
Yeah. No, for black I meant. He just has one check on E4.
Yeah, exactly. You can go like this, but it's probably going to...
This would be similar to the game of M's, yeah. He'd pick up the pawn. So maybe capture on F5 and Queen C3 was looking good. Of course, he can play other moves.
Maybe just...
He can play, for instance, King F7 instead of playing.
But then Queen
F4.
F6.
No, with Queen on C6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's not quite enough. I mean, just these two pieces are not going to deliver checkmate. And other than that, this king is also quite weak, and the pawns as well. And the bishop will be unstable once the queen goes pawn hunting.
So he went Queen C4, and black played A6. And this is the actual position, in principle. How can white progress here? Well, now he could take on F5 and force the other player to take back with the G pawn. Not sure this is a...
But he can always do that because there's no getting away from the king.
So
maybe something like this, and then
more pressure.
Trying to go for F5.
But H5. B4 could be another idea at some point.
Yeah, let's just try ideas. Even King D3, and no, that doesn't work.
Well, A4 afterwards could be an idea. If black doesn't do anything, we're going to put in A4 and B5. So
Maybe
he has to do something, no?
Okay, black will probably just go.
King F7 and...
A4 I'll just take, right?
Well, now I can't play A4, yes.
And I want to go Queen B5. No, it looks very drawish to me.
No chance of doing something here, no? Very equal.
Yeah. No, it doesn't look enough.
Okay.
Like enough
I'm gonna check
winning resources.
The chat, see if...
Don't do it. They just insult us.
No. We're great.
Afraid.
We rate them.
Okay. So here the time control has been achieved. There's some games where the time control is not exactly there yet. For example, David's game, although it's probably not that exciting anymore since black's position is totally winning. Luke's position must be winning as well. Nicholas Pert. What happened here? A lot happened. Yeah. So that's the current position. Don't want to go back too far because things are going to happen here now. 6 moves until time control and no clue about the clock situation. But this looks a little bit better for black because of the more active bishop. But it might just not be enough to land a full point here.
This is bachelor pair, no?
Probably you don't want to exchange queens here. Even though rook takes c4. What is this? Probably nothing for black. I guess you just want to go queen g4, indicate that you're interested in this pawn and this pawn. Maybe also some king-side attacks sometimes if the queen goes too far away.
Mm-hmm. There's been some developments here. The c4 pawn has fallen.
Okay.
It's been captured.
Just making random moves.
And they're now... Exactly. The pawn has been captured and they're in a queen and bishop ending.
So I guess this pawn is poisoned or what? Queen e2 maybe. But do you really win this end? Yeah, maybe you do.
But which pawn do you think it's going to capture after, for instance? Yeah.
It depends.
Well, if I protect my bishop and you
maybe
capture
queen
h5,
e3 or something.
Is that enough to win?
Nah,
4 against 3?
I think I had an endgame like this.
This looks
almost like this, and of course I didn't.
He's just captured the a7 pawn.
Can't be.
This looks very drawish. I mean, Pert can play on a long time, obviously, but without queens it's a draw. But even with queens, if he defends with a minimum of precision, apart from the fact the pawn on e5 is a spearhead, you can't even put the black pawns in motion. It's going to be very difficult to win
No, I think this is just a draw.
This is just a draw. So probably draw on this position.
Which would be the first top-seeded player not to win his game in the second round, right?
We haven't paid much attention to the 6th board, Adair against Dinnerly, but the knight did arrive on d6 to block, which was an idea you mentioned before. Adair on Dinnerly, the last one on the list.
Right. Hopefully we're not jumping too much. So this is just one move before the time control, right?
Yes.
So bishop e6 came.
Bishop e6 check. It's move 40, and now they just arrived, so they should be given 30 minutes each.
So white's a pawn up, and he's got the more active pieces. So this should be winnable, even though there's a dark square blockade. But black should win this. Let's see if still there are some exciting time trouble situations.
Okay.
I'm just gonna jump until I see something that strikes me as interesting.
Yeah, Howell is dominating. I'm going through the games as well with the overview. Maybe
let's just stick with this game and be a little bit more consistent for once until white resigns. That is.
Okay, so knight d6. What happened here? b3, knight c3, b2, a5, and he played knight b5. He didn't play bishop a2. Which also looks quite reasonable. And white played knight b1.
Don't even know what to play here.
Yeah, this looks good.
It does.
What could white have here?
That was our line. Just over. But it ain't over till it's over. So he went to knight b5, which is also quite tempting, and now
he could also promote, and then against a7 play knight b5. He didn't even have to play knight b5 straight away.
Exactly, yeah.
It's funny.
So now he needed to go f5 because bishop a2, bishop e4 is not as straightforward.
That's a bit more tricky.
Maybe it's still winning, but
yeah, he wins because of the mate. Take knight c3. A6, knight takes b1, a7, knight d2, a8.
Wait. If you take and go knight c3, I'm just going to retreat.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's the other one. Sorry. Yep.
So we went f5. Bishop c6 now. Oof, that's an annoying move. Maybe he missed that. Bishop a2.
2, and now knight d2.
Knight d2. So this, yeah, it's just winning. Yeah, okay. Again, the bishop will be in time to
get back, yeah.
Cool.
So he went knight d2.
And knight d2.
Okay.
Still must be winning. Knight d4 maybe. Or just knight a7.
Even knight a7,
just to be
attack the bishop.
Completely sure.
Yeah, this must be okay. He'll probably have played this already. Let's see, this is
he went knight d4.
Knight d4. But then bishop b7.
So this is just winning, right? I'm just gonna queen and then I'm a
There's no move, no?
Yeah. Okay, so knight d4.
Unless there's something very specific about this position, but I mean, it's a piece up.
And
He played bishop b7 now.
b7.
Ah, maybe he wants to go knight b3.
Yeah.
Yes, nice.
But then bishop d5.
Ooh. So many tricks. So many tricks. So many tricks.
Too many to count.
Take, queen, take, a6, and the knight doesn't get back.
Wait,
Wow.
Is white winning now? White might be winning here.
So let's go back a move. And instead
White is winning, right?
Yeah, but hopefully Luke will see this. So what does he do here then? Take on e2 with check, but that doesn't help him to promote.
Oh, he just queened.
Okay.
And now blocked on the.
Oh, blocked. Okay. Okay.
I guess that's what he's going to play.
That will be okay then.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Should be enough.
Everything under control.
All right, so many different
We were a bit
lines.
anxious there with the knight b3 move, but he was able to find a win. He just played knight b5, so yeah. He'll block on a7, bring the king in, and that's what happened.
And they're just blitzing out a couple of moves, but piece is a piece.
Okay, so other games in time trouble. Let's see. Jackson Hebden. How many moves did they?
Lawrence lost, it says, by Lee Chess.
We do have a game in time trouble, although it's not very exciting, which is Hebden against Jackson. They're going by move 35. The problem is the position isn't very exciting and doesn't seem...
That is a problem.
It doesn't seem that they'll have much trouble.
Maybe we can make it artificially exciting.
We need to make this move.
Wow, what a position. Look at this open file. And what if white gets to this pawn? It's going to
Come on,
become
let's make this exciting. Come on.
I can't.
Let's find a way for Jackson.
Not good enough actor for this.
But the thing is, if the a6 pawn does fall...
We can make it exciting.
Well, white will have some winning chances, and white is the low-rated player. So this could be a surprise, no?
The clock stopped, right?
The clock stopped,
So,
but this is the position.
Let's try to understand the position. So, I would suppose white is pressing here because he's controlling the more important B file, more important in comparison to the D file. And this a6 pawn is
and look at the
quite
king,
easy to get
h7.
by. Yeah.
So far away. That could be important.
White is simply 4 pawn units up. Right. So this king is already quite to the action. So, like, of course it cannot be activated now, but if the rooks exchange in some way or another, then this king is quite quick. It looks very unpleasant for black. Maybe he can hold it, like, for example, if he could achieve this position, then the knight on c5 would be quite eternal, and white could never enter on b7. He could not hit this pawn. Of course, he could try to improve his position, but yeah, this knight is just blockading everything, and the king has no way to enter.
So really, he should play bishop c5. No,
of course,
black
we won't
play bishop c5.
We won't take ourselves. Oh wait, so maybe we have to
because the threat is rook d2.
Yeah. So probably bishop c5 has to happen.
Okay, so bishop c5. Now white needs to find a good move here, no? What to do? Of course, bishop e1 is possible, although it's a bit passive. We probably won't want to do that. And what do you think of knight b4 straight away? Is that reasonable?
I'll just take and play knight c5.
Yeah.
Well, what about bishop e1 though? Because it's really essential to get the rook to b7.
And there's the threat of knight b4 is there as well. Okay, we'll play passive just for one moment.
Just for one move.
And
don't worry, we'll get active later on.
What does black do now? Because he would really like to put the knight on c5, no, but he can't.
He can defend the c7 pawn with bishop to b8. Well, no, I'm not being serious. Or should I? Wait.
Well,
now if we get one more move...
But now the bishop goes back. So if he finds bishop e1, but something's happening here because the clocks are blocked and the moves are not advancing.
They must have reached time control just because the time
there must be
would have run out.
There must be a problem here on the move feed. So...
But still, it's quite surprising. well, we might be in for an upset at least. White is pressing here, and it's really easy to play for white. Nothing much to go wrong.
As the old crow flies suggests that we look at Hunt versus Gina. Maybe we can bring that game up if it's there.
Gina?
Well, we might have to take away.
Oh yeah.
One or two games that are finished and bring up one of the newer games.
Okay, let's get rid of a couple of games. Okay,
we can take the game of Trent out.
Let me do some operations here. Tick.
I'm going to look for other suggestions as well. So that's one suggestion. Right. I'm going to write it down here.
We'll take suggestions now.
Hunt against Gina.
Gina. So is this a girl? Or is it Gina with a J?
With a J. A J-I-N-A.
Tarangina. Oh, 1777 drew his game against 24-24.
Gina drew. Pretty big upset.
Gina drew. Oh, just 18 moves? What happened here? I guess we'll have to look at
1777 against a 2424 and a draw in 18.
Even the 1800 players, they understand they should open with knight f3.
And c4.
Everyone knows it.
C2.
Queen c2. I'm not aware of this line. Is that a move? Doesn't look great because there's all kinds of knight jumps. But okay.
Ooh, I have no idea if this is theoretical.
No.
Pawn takes bishop f4.
Probably not anymore.
B3, B4.
Looks great for black.
Knight e4, knight a7, h4, bishop f5, knight b5, and he offers a draw.
Maybe it didn't feel that well, or something else. Or maybe white resigned, because there's no way to parry knight a3. Wait.
No, this is a draw off, obviously, but why?
No, I think black won. d5.
d5 wins a piece.
Looks like might win a piece.
Okay, so what happened here? Bishop f5, h5, and black played d5 instead of knight b5, and maybe there's a move, a misplaced. It's funny. I'm going to look at chess results here, because this is board. Which board is this? I'm going to find out, because the results are passed.
I think it's the first game where the players had, or the second.
The
draw.
Those are the points they had before the game.
Oh.
We don't know, but I mean, an international master would not play
draw.
knight b5 here if he's got d5. That's quite obvious.
Maybe knight d5. Oh wait, we have knight c5.
Knight c5 intermediate. Okay.
And then takes.
Okay, maybe this is not so clear.
Okay, so knight b5, and now maybe there's no cure against d5 and knight a3 and even knight c3. Ugh, knight c3 is.
So you think that maybe black resigned instead of the draw, and the result is what's mistaken then?
I think so. But
it could be possible.
About this move? Okay, bishop g4 might be an idea. We can, of course, just take.
In the chat, it seems that they're quite convinced that Pity Gina took the draw, but understandably, 650 elo difference. But we're not quite sure. Maybe it's a draw. Maybe there are more moves. We have had some problems with. Find out. But it is a bit surprising that a 2400 player. It even looks as if he's better, so it's quite surprising. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
I want to ask the engine. I'm desperate.
Okay, I'll check it just in case.
Yeah.
I can do that now.
Exciting going on? Any other?
So knight b5. I'm going to check the engine. Well, it seems that the the engine says that with knight h4, white is better.
Wow.
Suggests an advantage of 140.
Okay, then everything is sound. Wow.
So black thought he was worse. I asked a grandmaster a few years ago, with how much disadvantage should he offer a draw to a low-rated player?
How much
rated
lower?
400 points, 300 points. He told me two pawns down. With 1 pawn down or 1 point, he doesn't offer a draw. 2 pawns down, sometimes he offers. So that was his rule of thumb.
Right, another golden rule.
So if black thinks he's clearly worse, which would be about 1 point, 1.5 points, which is what the computer says, but they don't know, obviously. Would you offer a draw here with black? Against a player 600 points.
I don't
less than
like
you?
admitting defeat by offering draw against.
So you play on.
low. I don't know. If I think there's a good chance I might get away with a draw in a lost position, I might try it. But yeah, of course that's the last thing you want to do. But sometimes you have those games where the draw offer was the best move you made. Before that, you just played.
You never know, no?
And Adam Hunt drew his first round game already, and now this is another throwback for him.
No, that's true. Then the other way of looking is play on all these games, and you might lose one, but you'll end up winning more to compensate the loss. That depends if you take the defeat emotionally well or not. If when you lose a game, you're done for the rest of the tournament, then it's possibly better to take the draw, no?
Or you just play Swiss Gambit then. From behind, he's expecting you, and you win all the games.
We call them a submarine player in Spain.
A submarine. He dives and then
You start badly. A bad tie break, but sometimes they get to the last rounds fresher because they haven't had tough games. No, the name is quite good. Submarine, submarine player, submarino. We call them in Spain. Okay. Are you a submarine player?
Very sneaky to come from behind.
It's a sneaky tactic.
No,
sometimes you're forced to become sometimes you're forced to become a submarine player when you lose a game in the first round.
Yeah, of course. Then you have to.
But you don't do it on purpose, no?
No,
sometimes
that
happens.
No.
Okay.
But there's enough examples where people didn't manage to lose all their first to win all their first games, but then came back all the stronger. I believe just now the Czech Open in Pardubice has been won by a player who drew the first 2 rounds against lower rated players and then won 7 in a row.
And then
he outclassed the rest of the field by 1 point.
So here we have a classic.
Do not despair even if you don't win, or even lose one of your first rounds, you can come back.
Let's check on Hawkins against Kolbus, the German.
Wasn't that great advice? That was totally.
So I missed that last phrase. What did you say?
No, that was not great advice. Okay. I was mocking myself. That was basically just an empty phrase. Which game?
Because Hawkins against Kolbus, it's game number 4. He finally put the queen aligned with the bishop, and I was wondering if he's done something interesting here. If he has some chances putting the queen on h8 somehow.
So the threat is queen f6 now, collecting the pawn.
So queen e4 check looks to be normal. And after king f2, maybe king f2. What
you can also go king e8 and then meet white's attempts. I don't think white has enough firepower to try to push for something. Maybe he'll try some. I don't know.
Maybe queen e5 there.
Maybe I'm just not creative enough, but I don't really see it.
But I agree with you. After maybe h5, you're going for an ending.
Well, on the other hand, all those bishop endings must be good for white with the more active king. Although he needs to break in somewhere, or break through, breaking.
But without exchanging yourself, letting the other player exchange the queens.
Yes, but even then, I mean, I'm just two squares away from the saving c6 square.
So queen e5 is not enough.
It's just a draw. Okay, I'm not going to make any predictions because we saw what happens.
Black has to find good defensive moves as well. He might not play king e8.
Yeah, of course. You can always speculate for your opponents.
I think that if he stays on the diagonal, maybe plays h5 and black doesn't defend well, there's still chances here to win. But if black defends correctly, it should be a draw.
There's always chances. But these are more of practical nature.
Exactly. Okay, so Sure if they're related. Two Wells against Jamie Horton.
Oh, right.
There you go.
Wells. Oh, Keith and Nick Arkell are playing side by side.
Oh, they're in progress as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get these games on. I'm gonna get rid of some of the
some of the ones that are finished.
So this one. Okay.
Well, I must say that the game is just finished, but I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
It wasn't when I asked for it, but now it's just finished. He just played knight c6 and black resigned. It'd be unfortunate.
Which game are we talking about now?
The game between Wells and Horton. I just asked you to bring it up, and as soon as I asked you, black resigned.
We missed a critical moment. Yeah.
So this was how the game was developing. White has a much better ending, but there's still a bit of... And now he played knight c6. Nice trick to finish off the game, and black resigned. If king takes knight, b5. For the spectators, we can show them how the game would finish.
Without knight c6, it's not so easy. Well, maybe it's still one with king c3.
King c3.
Because this pawn is hanging. But knight c6...
That's a nice trick. b5, and we get the outside pass pawn and pick up the rest of the pawns. And what about the game between Arkell and his opponent?
Which one? Which of the Arkell brothers? Okay, so let's look at Keith's game. Oof, another rook end game where white is crushing through.
Ooh, that looks very good, yeah. Against Mike Waddington.
And to complete our little round, David Eggleston, also using pass pawns as a weapon, won his game.
Wow.
Against Nick Arkell.
So it seems that the round is closing up. Not many more games. Jones is still fighting on this ending. It's not being so easy for him to win.
I need to take another breather. Because the nature is...
okay, so we're going to take 5 minutes and be right back to wrap up the round with the last games.
All right, let's do that. We'll be back in a couple.
Okay.
Same could be said about Luke Mcshane, who is still active in his game against Andrew Horton. He's a piece up, though, and this is a technically winning position. There is a little bit of difficulty still involved because it's an outside pass pawn which needs to be controlled by the knight. So basically this knight cannot go too far because the pawn would be advancing. However, this is still not too complicated. One winning plan could be to exchange these bishops. Make sure that the white king cannot enter into...
As long as the white king can't go to d4 and e5.
Exactly. So maybe something like putting the knight here, the king here, and then moving around the bishop to c6, then exchanging the bishops, and just making sure that there's no way for the white king to enter.
It'll take a bit of time, but this must be winning. So
and especially so in the hands of an experienced and strong player like Luke Mcshane. So we're not expecting any surprises here in this game either. We're not expecting any surprises in the game of Nicholas Pert against Peter Batchelor. This is just an opposite colored ending with a pawn up for black, but of course...
With the queens there were some chances, but now the queens are off. And with queens it was still a draw, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can always drum up some attack with the queens. But this position, white would have to play extremely bad to lose this position with all the pawns on one side of the board and opposite coloured bishops. So not expecting a mistake here. A small upset, although... As we said at the beginning of the round, 2,300 players playing with white. If they're playing solidly and they play a good game, they can get a draw. Or even win, but a draw is completely possible.
Nothing left to go astray here for white. It's quite trivial. optimally, white will try to get his bishop onto this diagonal and then simply move his pieces back and forth. Make sure to control all the dark squares. There's no way black can breach the dark square blockade. So nothing out of the ordinary in this game either, at least in this position. Next game we should take a look at is actually a game that finished in the meantime as well, with the favorite Gawain Jones going through as the victor of this game. Well, this is the final position.
It seems he used the plan you were mentioning, crashing through with f5 and e5, because the bishop on g7 looks as if it came from the long diagonal. So how did this finish off?
So this is the final position, and black resigned. So I guess the problem is that this pawn cannot be stopped. This rook does a great job of dominating this knight, and well, this rook is tied to defending the knight. So yeah, there's no counterplay, and this pawn is just going to queen. Aside from the fact that white is of course also pawn up, and these guys are also hanging, but I don't even think that is necessary to win the game. So Gawain Jones proceeds to 2 out of 2 as well, together with David Howell, and we expect Luke Mcshane to join them shortly. Nicholas Pert will be one of the few players on the very top who will probably not succeed winning his game, but will have to be satisfied with the draw today. And another player to whom this characterization applies is Jonathan Hawkins, who conceded a draw against German-British Dietmar Koivos. So they ended up exchanging queens in this position, and here there's no breaking through.
Nothing to play for here.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just eliminate these games from our view so we have a clearer overview of what is still going on. There's still a couple of games which haven't been finished yet, so let's take a look at them. One of those, well, one game that I think has been finished already, because it's stuck at move 33, and I believe actually this is where black resigned. So this is the game between Claridge Hansen and Yang Fan Zhu, a strong young player who was the favorite in this game, but here he had to concede his defeat because bishop takes c5 cannot be stopped anymore, at least not comfortably. I guess rook a5 and knight a6 are possible moves, but then white's attack is decisive. Let's say rook a5, knight e5. Well, yeah, this looks very strong. Let's say bishop c8, trying to defend the f5 pawn. Now knight c6 with a double attack on all of these pieces. Well, this is just an incredibly bad position for black. So either black resigned here, or the game has continued, and black should have lost this encounter anyway. Another upset, or probably the first upset with a full point at least, that we're witnessing today. A couple of drawn games we have already seen. Most notably probably the game of international master, who was it?
We had the German player drawed against Hawkins, and then we have Williams, who's drawn against FIDE Master Richardson.
Yeah. No, I meant the one where 1777 player managed to draw.
That was Hunt against Gina.
Yeah, Hunt.
Gina.
Right. International Master Hunt.
His second draw
right,
in a row against lower rated players.
I just told the story of Jan Krejci, who won the Pardubice Open after drawing his first 2 games and then
winning 7 in a row.
Yeah, browsing through
so
the
it's always... You never know. But in principle, it's not a good idea to give too many draws at the start of the tournament.
I guess you have to be mentally resilient for such a feat to happen, because many players will be a little bit demotivated if they start badly into a tournament. But you shouldn't. You should always keep fighting. Isn't that another great advice?
The only major upset, if we discount the draws, is the loss of Lawrence Trent against Charlie Story.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the only
really
major upset, at least as far as I can see. On the games, there are 2 or 3 more draws, but at least in the games with players of 1 point, that's the major upset today.
Okay. So, further continuing our round, this is the game Jackson against Habiton, where white is pushing with a small advantage, or however, black managed to exchange bishops here. I'm pretty sure they're not in move 36.
No, this game is frozen.
Oh,
this game is frozen, and I'm trying to see if the result is there, but possibly the game is still continuing. But the game is frozen. We can't consult the moves in this game.
So we don't really know what has happened here. This position looks quite alright for black. There's one idea that he should watch out for, which is rook b4 and then to c4. So maybe still some minor chances for the underdog here to squeeze out a full point, but I don't really believe it. And we suspected bishop e1 to be the more critical test here, with rook b7 coming in. Alright, since this broadcast seems to have broken down, at least this game, I'm gonna close the window and we'll proceed to the residual games that are still being played. One of those being James Adair versus Richard Dinley. And this is the position currently on the board. I'm not sure if white really had to give up his extra pawn. I would have taken with the rook, so we have this idea of breaking through on the dark squares. But this position is probably still winning. I can't imagine anything else. It's a pawn up and active pieces. Sure, you have a dark square blockade, but can't be enough.
So he gave the pawn.
Oh, okay.
He gave the pawn to try and get in on the other side of the board, but...
So rook takes f6 wasn't enough. Also, it
King g7
drops the rook.
Wow. Well,
okay, now I guess black can even take, and then
this is just a draw, of course. Yes,
going to be a draw.
Fourth question with the knight.
But he doesn't have to take. Probably just rook h4. No, wait. Of course, the knight is hanging. Oof. Okay, let's take then and see what happens. This. Yeah, I was thinking just move the knight around.
He has 4 squares for the knight, so it's impossible for the bishop to control all the squares.
This looks like a draw.
Knows whose one's there.
So rook g8, king e7, and now...
And rook g7. And I'm thinking that
rook
this
g7.
is the position. Yeah, I'm going to try and confirm this is the current position. And this is the current position. Black to play. Of course, rook d8, king d8, rook d7 would be a blunder. So it's either king f8 or king e8. So what is white trying to do there? Put the rook on d7.
Makes sense to put the king onto dark square, then rook d7. I feel like white should still be crashing through.
Where to move the knight? He has no decent square. c8 is bad. e8 is probably the only square. But then he'll fall in rook f7 and a discovered check. Oof, this doesn't look good at all.
I think just collecting all of these pawns is good enough. And also the d6 pawn is going to queen.
So this idea of giving the h5 pawn to crash in with rook is quite decent. Very good idea.
Yeah.
Does he have any other move instead of...
Well, he has this move, but I don't think it really
Can
helps.
he put knight anywhere active? A check on h4? No use at all. King g3.
Nah, that's just losing.
It's just losing, no? King c8, rook somewhere good. Rook b7 probably.
Yeah, this looks winning.
So
easily even. Okay, and the last game that is still going on, at least on the upper half of the pairing list, is Abrams versus Jovanka Huska.
That was a rook ending, possibly? Yes.
This should be winning, right? You're a chess coach professionally. You must know these technical endgames. It should be winning. Oh wait, it's white to move? Well then of course it's not winning.
This would be a draw.
Yeah, okay. Right. So this was the position they came from, 2 versus 1 on one flank. It's easily held, and of course it's
standard fiddle defense.
Okay. Yeah, I thought for a moment
with
I thought
2
it's
pawns.
Black to move.
Pawns.
Yeah, they should be winning. No, because I can hide on the f file.
Yeah. You use the extra pawn to block, no? Exactly.
Yeah. No, this should be winning.
So
Okay.
this is a draw. This is not a major upset, but it's
a draw.
It's a solid draw by White. And I'm looking at a game here. If you want to bring it up, one that's finished. Paisa is an international master. He's got 2 out of 2 now, and he's won quite a nice game, quite a short game. If you want to put it up, it's Paisa against Anil Kumar. Anil Kumar.
Let me see what I can do.
Board 18, if you can find it. It's quite a short game and a convincing win.
Okay, let's check it out then. I'm getting the impression that Richard Palliser likes to mate his opponents.
Yes,
even though he starts quite...
Of course, all these players are now on 2 out of 2 and will tomorrow have a much stronger opponent than 1930.
Nothing personal. We're just reading the rating, 1932. All right, so another English, as ever so often. Have we ever seen a 1e4? Yeah, we had a
couple, but not
we
many.
had a Rui Lopez today. Not many,
very few. Now, this is actually transposed to a position that I think comes from the Alekhine defense.
That's possible,
The
yeah.
Voronek variation. And the plan is, except the knight's not on b6. That's the only difference.
Yeah, it looks like a comfortable advantage for White. I was waiting for h4 to happen here. Didn't. Because that's how he won his first round game, right?
Yeah.
He had black and played h5, h4 with opposite counters.
But not with the knight on f6. No, that's
No, but we have
different.
a bishop on e2, so that helps.
So we could try it anyway.
Of course, h4, h5, and then what? Okay, but I mean, this is the classical, most natural way to play.
And now, of course, the bishop
and now h4.
The bishop has blocked itself in on b7.
No,
Can't be very good.
That's a horrible piece.
And
This is a worse bishop than this one. h4 is still quite
h4
possible
is good
here.
now.
But I guess it makes sense to
Rook e3.
increase the pressure first and
Rook e1.
hint at rook swings.
And now black tried to hold with the knight on e5, but it was expelled duly after a couple of maneuvers.
Interesting maneuver with the queen.
And
Yeah, but
when
the
he got
position's
f4, the position was lost. So he sacked the c4 pawn, got it with, and now the last move is interesting because queen d8 is a blunder, and rook e7 can't exchange queens, and
But I'm having a hard time finding.
there's nearly no move here, is there?
This is an idea, I guess not. Well,
That's mate. So a quick win for Paisa. And the other game, which was quite funny, attractive, was Ward against Graham, board 14. This was an opposite side Castle Kings game, very attractive.
Ward against Graham.
Yeah,
Do we have this game here?
Chris
Maybe.
Ward, another grandmaster and prolific author.
The Ward of the North. No, that's something different.
That's
from Game of
Thrones, the series. The Ward of the North, very good.
I think it's the Warden. though.
No, the King of the North, it's not the Ward.
There's also the Warden of
It's
the
the
North.
Ward of the North, no? Okay. So that's the game, yeah. Chris against Graham.
Check it. Okay.
And we can probably pick it up at the middle of the game.
What would be the middle of 29? I guess it's
17, King
14.5.
B1. That's a nice moment to pick it up.
Let's make it 14.5
Okay.
though.
So, King's Indian,
King's Indian.
close centre, and castling, opposite side castling.
And yeah, well,
3b3.
White's attack is just easier to conclude. Yeah,
Black does try something on the queen side, but it's too slow.
execute.
Execute. And White is able to...
This is like a dragon, like a closed dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, with h takes g4, simply h5.
H5 and
bishop
push,
h6.
push, push.
All the good moves.
And mate. Mating very soon.
Okay,
He
so
just has to be careful on some knight takes b3 threats, but apart from that,
that can't be it, right?
that's probably not the best maneuver, no.
I mean that maybe Black didn't have anything better, but if you have to play such moves, then something is already wrong.
No, I remember a game of Vishyanand, not in this variation, but he put a pawn on a3 and then just waited on the king's side, and there was an opening, and then at the end there were some tactics, and
Yeah.
the pawn came in handy.
Yeah.
But you can't just put the queen and think that you're going to win. I mean, white just leaves 2 pieces there to defend and crashes through with the rest, which is what happened in the game.
It's called a coffin nail.
The coffin nail.
Yeah.
I think
in German at least. Well,
in English, I think they call it the wedge or the pawn wedge or something like that.
The wedge.
I've heard it said. The coffin nail.
It's not a wedgie though. That's something different, right? That's if you pull up the pants.
No, the wedging is a triangle piece of wood which you use to. So,
do you use it with vampires or with werewolves? I'm not sure.
But it's a very dangerous pawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes worth 3 points.
Yeah.
On f6 or h6.
I remember this game of Kasparov and the Naidorov with the pawn on h3 where against Shirov. Oh, you know your classics,
I know my
don't
classics. Bolan beat me with the exact idea, and he reminded me after the game, Michael, why did you let me take my pawn to h3?
Really annoying, especially in time trouble or in blitz. Yeah. Whenever the position opens, your king is just in a mating net. In a mating
very
box.
Dangerous. Yeah. And also many endings you can just lose because that pawn is there. So
but of course white is controlling the position here, so there's no danger of that, and he's just crushing through on the other side of the board.
Take, eliminating the knight, very good, and now he's crushing through the rooks. Yeah. So a clean win by Chris Ward, and a lot of mates there, and no way to stop them. Okay, so let's go back to the... So, draw with Bachelor Pert, as we predicted.
Okay, we don't need to
Horton,
look at that.
Mcshane, they're still fighting, but that's clearly a win. What else have you got there?
Adair, we haven't checked this game.
He pushed through. He's won a piece for a couple of pawns, but...
So there's basically just 3 games remaining.
Yeah.
And one of them is this one. No, not this one, but this one. Yeah, we're expecting white to... Well, he's already a bishop up, and this pawn is going to queen, or it's going to be a mate. Not too difficult, shouldn't be at least. I don't know, something like. We don't need to focus on this game either. But which game shall we focus on?
The game between Claridge and Zoe, which it seems to have carried on.
Oh,
and now
okay.
Claridge has got 2 pawns in the 6th on the 6th rank, and this seems to be okay with moves, but something's wrong here because they're on move 39. So these moves are not coming through cleanly with the times, but the position is advanced. That's for sure. It's the 4th board.
Let me just click wildly, switch between the windows, confuse everyone watching, and claim that something's going wrong here. Well, what would be happening if this game was still going on? I guess white would just win a piece, or just queen a pawn. Probably this game has ended with a victory
possibly
for white.
When the pawns got to the... So this is another major upset because a low-rated player has taken down international master number 6. So what else have we got here?
So here we're expecting for black to test white's rook endgame skills and see if white remembers how to create the Philidor position.
Okay, he can try and create it on the 4th rank instead of the 3rd, which is perfectly valid as well.
Oh, really? So why not then 5th?
He could do it on the 5th as well. You can just.
So he's got three lifelines.
3 chances to do it.
All right.
It's a bit like the king and pawn ending. No, you can do all sorts of things, and until you're on the last rank, then you can't.
Then you have to get it right.
You got to get
Put
it right.
the king in front of the pawn, not next to it.
Exactly.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah.
I think so.
I had it recently. I had to find it in a Bundesliga game. Okay.
The funny thing is to do it a bit strange first, and let the other player think that you might not remember.
That's evil. All right, so black resigned in this game.
Yeah.
So we can.
I liked how white. Okay, it wasn't so difficult, but it was interesting how he sacrificed the pawn to get the rook in, and understood that was the way to the win. And here they're drawn already. So
yeah, I don't think our viewers could see that, but the game Abrams versus Huska, or as Yasa Serawan likes to say, Jovi, was drawn. So that was to be expected. Now we can close this game as well, and there's only one game remaining.
They're saying in the chat that
Stephen
Stephen Jones is beating Alan Mary.
Why does he do that?
Why are you doing that, Stephen? That's a good question.
We need to go home.
So, can you pick up that game? Is that possible?
I'll try.
Alan Mary.
How did that go?
I'm going to try and find it here.
Who's white?
I'm going to tell you right now. Jones is white.
Merriman, no.
No. Board 17. Jones white, 21.71, and Alan Mary is black, 24.27.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So it's not Gawain Jones.
No. That's the one.
It's a different kind
Jones
of
Mary.
Jones. Mm-hmm.
There you go. So, let's see what's happening here. 2 pieces against the rook. 4 pawns each.
Okay, this still requires some technique.
Crushing is not the term,
no.
In any case, but
just winning in a technical manner.
It seems that white is better.
Okay, so you just move the knight to here.
And capture the pawns, no?
There's no way to stop it, really, is it? Is there?
Well, here you can go to c6
now we go
which is
here.
even nicer.
Okay, this is quite easy. This bishop does a great job of defending
all the weaknesses. Yeah, very good.
And black has 2 weaknesses.
This is crushing. The position is crushing.
Yeah,
obviously. So another
upset
in the second round. Stephen Jones, 21.71, is going to defeat an international master. So tomorrow we'll have all the top-rated players, or nearly all of them, except for Hawkins, and many IMs.
Pert also.
Pert is also on a 1.5, and some lower-rated players, but who already have demonstrated that they're playing in good form and playing against good players. So it'll be an interesting round tomorrow. And you won't be here, Ilja.
No, I won't. Who will be your co-commentator tomorrow?
I think Mr. Daniel Fernandez, international master from the United States. So
all right,
we'll see how it
goes. I
goes.
don't know him personally.
I don't either.
Not even unpersonally.
I know him unpersonally, but not personally.
All right.
So, well, you can befriend him on Facebook, and
you think he wants to be friends with me?
I'm sure he will want to be friends with you.
Oh, cool.
Mcshane won finally.
Oh, it happened.
Yeah, he put the king on c7, maneuvered, and
yeah. Okay, now this pawn is just dropping. This you can choose
knight d8 maybe.
b8, king b6.
King b6.
Yeah.
Well, he just resigned after king c7, so.
But now black has a devious winning plan, no? White, I mean, won't quite work for a million reasons.
So, I think it's more or less time to wrap the second round up.
Yeah.
And
or do we want to look at this game now?
This seems to be pretty over now.
Yeah. Well, that's what we said yesterday about.
And 3 hours later.
Was it 3 hours really?
No.
Wow, but he played for a long time. Yeah.
104 moves.
Yeah, so we're talking about David Howell's games.
We stopped at 70 something, and it was at least 30 more moves to win the pawn. And then finally after
how close was he to the 50 move rule?
Must have been very close, probably less than 10 moves. So I can actually tell you if you want. So we left the game, I think move 54 was when one of the last pieces was exchanged. Yeah, he exchanged the rook.
Alright, so he had 50 moves until 104. That's where he won.
Here.
But he
moved 54, and he won the pawn.
Our viewers can see it, only I can see it, but
he won the pawn on move. Wow. Wow, he won the pawn here on move 100.
So
4 moves.
Wow.
4 moves. Wow, 4 moves. So the guy was 4 moves to getting the draw, and he lost the pawn. And immediately the game was kaput. Okay, so
your co-commentator
is not from the States.
Not from the States.
UK,
he's actually an
sorry,
insider
Daniel, if
to
you
British chess.
if you heard that.
And one of the guys in the chat is saying that he went to Cambridge University and finished this year. Maybe in order to start a commentating career. We'll see.
Good for you then. Okay.
For me?
Well, for him.
For him.
Okay.
All right. So this is...
Der Henker, you remember him from yesterday?
Yes.
Der Henker says that it's a fitted opposition, if he recalls, the position of Jovi, which is what we said before. And
yeah, that's what I said too.
Exactly. And Jones Mary, the power of 2 light pieces versus the rook, which is what we have now on the board.
Yeah, and this is a really great version for white. Usually the rook is, in endgames, is more resilient than the middle game, fighting against the 2 pieces. But here the coordination is so great for white that there's no problem in converting this, or at least there shouldn't be. So we're expecting Stephen Jones to beat Alan Mary for the 2nd or 3rd. I don't know. I'm gonna stop counting the major upsets, the full point upsets. There's a couple of draws, and tomorrow it's going to be top clashes all over the place on the first board. So, yeah,
he's won the pawn. So this is, I think there's a last trick he has to avoid, which I'm sure he will. I think there might be a threat of, not even this is okay. Yeah, we can promote the other pawn and with a check, maybe.
No, we can't.
No, we can't do that.
We have to win this queen
but
endgame.
if we push the c4 pawn, the c6 pawn.
No, but you need 2.
Oh yeah, okay, for 1, 2 for 1. That's true.
Okay, this is still winning. Of course, we can just grab this pawn if we please.
It's fantastic.
But that's not going to be necessary. So, all right. So we just take on g6, and then there's a discovered attack, but it's not really attacking much. So it's a discovered check. So we're expecting this game to finish soon as well. And I believe it's time for us to wrap it up.
You could also take with the knight on g6.
You don't believe it's time for us to wrap it?
He didn't. He played knight d5. Solid play by...
Oh, he can... so
well, this is also...
to bring that up.
Also good.
Knight d5.
Knight f4 and
Knight f4.
Solid. No counterplay.
I don't know. Maybe black is trying to... But not really.
Knight gets there, no?
It's not... He's not in time.
Knight c4. A nice position to wrap the decision up. And Ilja, it's been a pleasure to commentate with you.
Same for me.
Thank you very much. I've learned a lot.
Oh, come on.
With your analysis and your commentary. Several ideas and also your pragmatic way of looking at the positions and grabbing all the pawns you can. And allowing me to try and look for the compensation. It's been a pleasure to.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun as well. Thank you too. Thank you to our viewers who have been supporting us in the chat as well. Not the ones who have been blaming us of missing stuff.
What can you do?
We don't like those, but everyone else. Thank you for watching. Tune in tomorrow with Michael and Daniel Fernandez
for the 3rd round, and hopefully for a nice aggressive round with a lot of good games. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
I won't see you tomorrow, but you will see them. So have a nice Sunday evening and have fun with the British Championship. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.